FM and HD1 Cleveland Heights. We are Cleveland's sports radio. 92.3 The Fan. An Odyssey sports station.
92.3 The Fan. 2020 Sports.
This 2020 Sports brought to you by Jackson Comfort Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing. Trusted for over 100 years. Call Jackson Comfort now for same-day service or book online at JacksonComfort.com. Turnovers an issue for the Cavaliers in the Raptors series, and more so again last night. Game 1 against Detroit. The Cavs' 20 turnovers cost them 31 points, ended up losing 111-101. Head coach Kenny Axon on the issues of giving up that ball.
Got to look at it. It's a team thing. It always kind of starts with our spacing. I think screening is another thing. They got elite defenders. We have to get them off our ball handlers. They were stuck like glue to our ball handlers. So got to do a better job there. And then we got to win our spot too. They're taking off. They took us off our spot, especially in the first half, kind of riding off catches.
Cavs would rally from 18 points down, tied the game at 93. However, Detroit outscored the Cavs 18-8 to close out the game and take the series opener. Donovan Mitchell, 23 points, and in his game 1 streak of at least 30 points at 9. James Harden, 22 points, 8 rebounds, 7 assists, but also 7 turnovers. Game 2 tomorrow night again in Detroit. Elsewhere in the NBA playoffs, Western Conference semifinals, Oklahoma City beats the LA Lakers 108-90. Chet Holmgren, double-double, 24 points, 12 rebounds. Thunder taking the series over. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, 18 points. Oklahoma City 5-0 during these playoffs. LeBron James led the Lakers with 27 points. Guardians fall to the Royals 5-3. Gavin Williams allowing 5 runs on 8 hits in 6 innings. Guardians dropped their 3rd straight. Williams lost for the first time since his first start of the season back on March 27th. On the runs for the Guardians, 3-run homer from Rhys Hoskins. Meanwhile, the Royals now with a 5-game winning streak. Browns continue their offseason workout program today in Berea, Phase 2, allowing the Browns to be on the field doing individual and group drills this week. The build-up to rookie minicamp that gets underway on Friday. You can now find 92.3 The Fan on YouTube. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Get the best content from our shows each and every weekday. That's 92.3 The Fan on YouTube. Headline sports news every 20 minutes right here on 92.3 The Fan. From the University Hospital Sports Desk, I'm Jeff Thomas. Up next time with the Ken Carman Show with Anthony Lima here on 92.3 The Fan.
Catch Afternoon Drive with Nick Wilson and Jonathan Peterlin live on YouTube each and every weekday from 2 to 7 p.m. The Ken Carman Show with Anthony Lima.
Harden stopped. Bounce it. Mitchell couldn't get there. Harris does. Holland on the leak up. Running with Jenkins. And Holland banks it home. And the foul. 3.2 left in the 3rd. Holland's going to get it off in time. And again, the Pistons convert. Bullseye on the deep 3. Cunningham in the paint. What a pass to Duran. This is Cade Cunningham's domain. Shovel. Duran drops the hammer. Timeout Cleveland. Mitchell way off. And Thompson batted it back. Guess who's there? It's Jenkins going coast to coast. Exclamation point for the Pistons. The Pistons have a Game 1 victory, and they go ahead in a series for the first time since 2008. 111-101 your final.
At the end of the day, they were the more aggressive team. That manifests itself in, them turning us over, the rebounding, obviously, and also the free throw disparity, right? You can say, well, I think halftime was 22-8, I think, in free throws. So usually the more aggressive team gets to the free throw line. So they definitely had that advantage. I thought second half better. Again, first half it wasn't just their bigs. I thought just overall they were more forceful, more energy. I thought we, again, much better in the second half. But energy, scale of 1 to 10, they were 9.5. We were probably at a 7. And that's, it's tough to win on the road with that kind of disparity.
This is Cleveland Sports Radio, 92.3 The Fan.
Oh boy, Cavaliers down 1-0 in the, I call it the Eastern Conference semifinals. Others might call it round 2. Either way, we can all call it a disastrous James Harden performance. Hello, everybody. I'm Anthony Lima, and I am joined alongside my good buddy and from enemy territory live. It's Matt Derry, Cleveland native, who has to live among those Detroiters who you could hear it in the open. Great job putting that together, Owen, as Kenny is out today and for the rest of the week. What an unfortunate set of circumstances. Cavs did get back in it. But, Matt, the Cavaliers will have to climb out of a 1-0 deficit, something they did not experience in the opening round against Toronto.
No, and look, Owen just played the clip. I mean, Kenny Atkinson is talking about They were the aggressor and everything else. The Cavs were pathetic last night. They were awful. And yet somehow found a way to be in the game and tied in the fourth quarter. Yeah, he's right. The Pistons' energy level was at a 9. They were at home. Cavs played with their food in the first round against Scotty Barnes, R.J. Barrett, and the Beechwood JV team, and had to go 7 games and then travel after that, after winning on Sunday. So I kind of expect a little bit of a lull in game 1. But again, they were right there for some odd reason. Thank you, Max Strus and a few others, but not a great performance last night. And if James Harden can't dribble a basketball, Anthony, and Evan Mobley making $47 million a year can't rebound a ball, it's going to be a long series. Or it's going to be a short series. It's going to be a long offseason for this team.
Typically in situations where you have a tie game with 4 minutes left and then a team pulls away, you run the station poll, you put out who's responsible for this. I don't have to do that. I think 100% of Cavs fans are going to, the first words out of their mouth last night into today, it's going to be James Harden. This was the James Harden effort. I think people were, including me, even somebody who supported the trade, thought the trade made sense. We've been over that to death. Even someone like me, I can't reconcile how you have a guy out there that can't dribble the basketball. And I have a really, really sobering comparison. I told you before the show.
Yeah.
He looked to me, for the ball knowers that have been around a while, he looked to me like Karl Malone against the Detroit Pistons when he was wearing a Laker jersey when he was 40 years old.
And you're going back to 2004?
Yes.
You're going back to 2004?
Yes.
Yeah, let's prop up the Gary Payton, Karl Malone.
Well, Payton was
Lakers.
injured, right? I think Payton was injured, did get to play. And either way, it was catastrophic in that series, and this was worse.
I just don't understand it, Tone. Like,
no.
I get it that there's going to be the James Harden bashers are going to be around. All right, where you're going to hear them all series, no matter what.
Well, they were around, Matt. Real quick, they've been around in the first series when I thought Harden played fine. I thought he was deferential. I thought, he didn't score as much as I think people thought he would, but I thought he made up for it in other ways, even defensively and rebounding. And he had a lot of those numbers yesterday too. But it was such a glaring, obvious deficiency out in front of everybody because everybody's watching that game. And he could not get by Duncan Robinson in the second and third quarter, and Cade Cunningham would just go yoink, my basketball, and then take it the other way because those turnovers, James Harden turnovers, are never just, all right, let's get back, retreat, get back on defense, and we'll live to see another day. It's an instant two almost every time.
No, those are runouts, and Dennis Schroeder came in and kind of spelled Harden for a while and helped get the Cavs back in the game, which was great to see. But you can't you've got James Harden here to help you win. Not that Dennis Schroeder doesn't help you win, but James Harden's here for a reason. They went out and got him at the deadline for a reason. He does have a history of scoring the basketball and having some elite success at times. But there are also some times that you see playoff James Harden where the Harden bashers and some of the national people will come out and say, what a terrible fit, what a disaster. But the Cavs couldn't stay. We're not going through the trade deadline stuff again with Darius Garland. Bottom line is you have to play better. But the basic stuff, dribbling the ball, not being able to dribble the ball. And Evan Mobley, I'm sorry, but I don't want to play the soft card after one game, but if he has to play the 5 because Allen's in foul trouble and it's him and Duren, forget it. Duren's a man out there. And there's just times that Mobley's out on the perimeter hitting some threes, but you got to do better. Got to do better.
Well, we'll get to some of the coaching stuff in this game because Jared Allen was in foul trouble in the first half. In the second half, he was in bench trouble from Kenny Atkinson. And we'll discuss some of the levers that I thought could have been pulled yesterday. Cavs lose 111-101. Obviously, front and center in the press conference yesterday. The media, including Joe Varden, who we had on the show yesterday, wasted little time trying to address with James Harden the disastrous turnover situation.
These turnovers are something that are correctable.
Yep, 1,000,000%.
And what do you think?
Some of them are, like Don just said, you look within first, and you look at my turnovers, and a lot of them were just on me and nothing they did. So, which led to, I don't even know how many transition points they had, but it was way too many. And, if I had to put my print on one thing on the game, that's the game right there. How many points they had in transition? Off our turnovers?
20.
There you
31.
go. That's the game. Like, it's nothing else. Like we talked about last year, you get a shot on glass, even half of that, and it's a different ball game. So I got to be better, and I will be better turning the basketball over, from turning the basketball over and getting shots up. And then it gives our defense a chance to get back and get set. I think we did it. Other than that, we played a pretty solid game.
Yeah, we'll get to whether or not that is correctable, if it is just on James Harden. But 31-16 was the difference when it came to points off turnovers. And look, we know, Matt, the Cavs are never going to be a fast break team. This is not going to be the Showtime Lakers. They play at such a slow pace. In fact, there was one, I even tweeted about it last night. There was a moment where they got out in transition with Donovan Mitchell, and two of the Pistons were down by the stanchion. And so you had an edge, and next thing you know, it's just Donovan Mitchell harmlessly dribbling back out from the baseline to the three-point line and allowing the Pistons to reset their defense. And it's just the one thing I do wonder about the Cavs. They play so slow. Their pace is so slow. They look at it as an advantage, the way that they like to play with their two half-court, ISO stars in Harden and Donovan Mitchell. And in the playoffs, that is normally a big part of playoff basketball, especially in the fourth quarter. You don't get a lot of fast break moments where you have a quick change situation or cross matches. But with that said, like when you have a chance to run, you got to be able to get some easy baskets.
Oh, my God. I get what the 2025, 2026 NBA is, and drive and kick, three-pointers. But that's the one thing I liked about Strus. We know Strus is out there mostly to shoot.
He was excellent yesterday.
But he was taking it to the basket, and sometimes you got to get a two. When they got back into the game and cut it to and tied it at 93, it wasn't just all threes. They were taking it to the basket. Schroeder took it to the basket. I know Jalen Duren's tremendous, and he's a good rim protector, and those two buckets that he got from Cade Cunningham, where that looked like the regular season Cade and Duren routine, kind of were the backbreakers. But I know that Duren's there protecting the rim. I know Stewart's there at times to muck it up down there, but take it to the basket. That's why the free throw disparity is there. I don't think anybody should call in this morning and tell us, oh, the refs. No, Cavs weren't aggressive. Cavs settled for a lot of jumpers, and they didn't fall. And by the way, the defense at the end of quarters, guys, you still have to guard. I know there's 2 or 3 seconds left. I know you don't want to foul. But you still got to guard. The Javonte Green three, watch the two guys around him just stand there.
Ron Holland got one in there as well.
Yeah.
The two, it's so funny. They're tied 4 minutes left, and all I could think about, even before the James Harden turnovers, because I knew that was going to be the conversation if they lost, and they did, as the Pistons pulled away late in the fourth. Those things just kept eating at me. I'm just like, why? Two desperation heaves. Right, but now they weren't like half quarters. They were in, and that, to your point, like the Cavaliers could have made them a little more uncomfortable.
Yes,
because these guys today's league, like they can shoot those relatively easy. I mean, we've seen Donovan Mitchell hoist shots at the end of quarters, in every year he's been here from all over the place. So these guys are more than capable of doing it. It's so funny. The back in my day on this is, I remember guys, Matt, when I was young, it was they were throwing it like a baseball. Now these guys can shoot like literally Dame Lillard can shoot from 8 steps behind half court like a normal 3-point shot.
Yeah, I mean, this is what Steph Curry has brought to the game, and for some people they love it, and other people think, oh my God, it's way too many threes, and guys chucking up 40-footers. But defense at the end of quarters you got to get back and contest.
They were backbreaking, both of them, and on the road, when that crowd is going to be amped, and Detroit was feeling it, the way that, the Pistons responded in Game 7 against the Magic, and you knew there would be that carryover. And I don't know, this is certainly not an excuse, because you're not going to be able to use it as one because you play every other day. But one thing I kind of overlooked, and I don't know if you thought this had any kind of an impact, was you're dealing with a bunch of veterans. Donovan has been in the league a long time. Harden's 37 in his 17th year with all the playoff mileage, because he's gone every single year. Like Jared Allen's been in the league now a long time. Like you start to add that stuff up, and Detroit looked to be fresher, even though they had just been taxed in a Game 7.
No, I don't disagree, but this all comes back to, I just, last night, some of it is on the Game 6 collapse in Toronto. It just is. That series should have been over. And then you would have had some more time to rest. That's a quick turnaround playing Sunday night and coming back and having to travel. I know it's a quick trip to to Detroit. It's not far. It's a 2.5-hour drive downtown to downtown. But
well, we had one of our guests cancel on us because of the transportation issues. So apparently it was planes, trains, and automobiles to get to Detroit. Chris Fedor.
Who knew the turnpike was that much of a bitch? But the bottom line is they just didn't play well. Look, it's one game. The series is not over. Tone, for as bad as they played, and they were not good. They were tied at 93 in the fourth quarter. That's the thing you got to think about. Harden was brutal. Mobley was not good. Jared Allen wasn't even there. I don't even remember any of the minutes he played. It was meaningless. I mean, Donovan Mitchell was not the Donovan Mitchell.
Allen ended up with 18 minutes in the game.
So
his coach kept him on the bench. I get it. Preemptive foul trouble, all that in the first half. Second half, that's just a coach's option.
I was surprised at the amount of minutes Thomas Bryant was getting in the fourth quarter. And no knock on TB, IU Hoosier legend, but get Jared Allen back out there. ASAP. I mean, you're right. They're three losses away from the season being over. I mean,
I think
your best guys out there.
Yeah, and I want to get to this because Donovan Mitchell played 35 minutes, and that was one of the numbers I circled in my notes last night. I tweeted about it. I'm just so used to guys that are considered superstars in this league going 40 in playoff games, and I know that Donovan has been somebody who has been on fumes at the end of these playoff series and has had to put teams on his shoulder. The whole point of this team is you're supposed to be a more complete basketball team. You have guys that are supposed to take the pressure off of him, and to have your superstar play 35 minutes in a game that was tied late in the fourth quarter, I think Kenny's got to answer for that.
A little bit. Yeah, no, I think now that you're down 0-1 and you've got, look, you don't have to get game 2. I mean, it would be nice. Mitchell said it all over the weekend and on Monday. Let's win. Let's get what you got to get one in Detroit. We got to get one in Detroit. All right. Well, you didn't get the first one. Now you have to get the second one. He is a max player, a superstar, like you said. He's the best player on the team. And you're right, 35 minutes. It's tied for the most on the team with Mobley and Harden, so you can't go too far with that. But all of them need to just play better. But there's got to be some sort of Superman game at some point in this series from Donovan Mitchell. And if it comes in game 2, that'd be great. Because other than Strus and Schroeder, I thought gave them good minutes, but the rest of the guys coming off the bench, obviously Merrill got hurt. Tyson didn't score. I thought his defense on Cade, and I think you pointed this out last night on social media, was pretty good. But Detroit, you also got to give them some credit. Jenkins off the bench murdered the Cavs last night. He played great, and I guess he kind of, he and Strus kind of cancel each other out a little bit, I guess, if you want to say it that way. But your superstars have to be that way. Cade Cunningham didn't even play a great game, yet still put up pretty damn good numbers. And Duren was a beast. He just was.
All right, 216-474-0092. Let's get some fan reaction on this, as obviously Harden is going to be the lead when it comes to national storylines for what happened in the second and third quarter. A little bit later in the show, I will have maybe a silver lining that got me thinking about how they can still steal home court advantage and even up this series coming back to Cleveland for Saturday's game over the weekend. 216-474-0092. We will have Kenny Atkinson discussing his rotations. And were the Cavs mad about officiating yesterday? I know their fans were. That's all straight ahead here on Sports Radio 92.3 The Fan.
like Joe, we got to find the right. Joe was saying, find the right personnel that brings it. That's going to bring the energy. We definitely tried to play a lot of guys tonight because I knew we were coming off a tough series, and thought Keon gave us some good minutes in the first half. We threw TB in there. I wanted to conserve our our energy and then try to find some new energy. We tried a bunch of things, and I think it helped us. So, but usually you search with that with personnel, trying to find the right combos.
Kenny Atkinson on the rotations yesterday. One of my big beefs yesterday, aside from the obvious with James Harden, was the 35 minutes for Donovan Mitchell. And then just looking at how he felt very comfortable, Kenny did, sitting Jared Allen, who only ended up with 18 points. We all know the well-documented foul trouble early on. But there was no reason to me, and I'm joined by Matt Derry, who's in enemy territory in Detroit, for him to be glued to the bench the second half the way he was. So Jared Allen finishes with just 2 points, 3 rebounds in a game that was close in the final 5 minutes.
I don't want to blame coaching. And I made the mistake just now, Anthony, of going on our YouTube page and looking at some of the comments. Just
Can you give me a synopsis?
Fire Kenny. Kenny's not the guy. I mean, we want to go through this again.
And of course, all those brought to you by Scheiben Jewelers, Cleveland's premier jewelry store.
Yes, Owen. Good work. Got to get that read in. But what do you want him to do? His $36 million point guard dribbles the ball off his leg. I mean, they throw up a shot, they get the rebound. They throw up another shot, they get another offensive rebound. If you can't rebound the ball and you can't dribble the ball, this is going to be a 4-game sweep.
Well, I will say, and I know, again, Allen was in foul trouble, but I don't think you should have James Harden at 37, very different version of James Harden. Although, unfortunately, last night looked like a very similar Game 7 version of James Harden, only it was in Game 1. I don't think he should be out there in lineups that do not feature either Evan Mobley or Jared Allen. And the reason is twofold. Offensively, I mean, they had Bryant coming up and setting screens for him. And how many pick and rolls have those guys even run together? Ever. Yeah. So I think that's an issue when you're going up against the blitzes that they saw yesterday in Detroit. And Detroit threw a few different looks at him. And then they were very comfortable at times just with Kate Cunningham on him at the top. But the second part of that is defensively, because while I think James has been holding his own on defense, I know there was the one Tobias Harris possession down the stretch that, will not be on the James Harden highlight reel. He almost fell down, and the crowd was going nuts, and then they sealed the game. I think they extended the lead to 9 on that possession, and that was it. Yeah. It was curtains. But overall, I thought James held his own defensively, but you got to have one of those guys behind him and Donovan at all times. And so to have that lineup, I think in the second quarter, that made no sense to me. And just overall, like I said, I wonder, remember, it was Game 5 that they stuck with Schroeder in the hot hand. And one of the storylines after the game was that Donovan told Kenny, stay with him, which is, you don't hear that a lot from superstars. And
no,
some of that is good. Some of that you're like, come on, Donovan, you kind of want to be out there. I didn't hear anything about Donovan saying, yeah, I'm good. Keep those guys out, because there were crucial fourth quarter minutes where I was like, man, I'd like to see Donovan back out there.
No, I agree. There were stretches in the fourth. You're right. You're like, all right, put the starters back in. And you didn't do that against Toronto in that Game 5, where you're right, Schroeder and that group were so good they ended up taking them home, which is normally one game in a 7-game series. And I still think this is going to be a long series with Detroit. I do, but your big horses have got to be the ones to carry you. I think in listening, and Owen's played a bunch of these bites already, these sound clips from Kenny Atkinson. It's almost like they knew, we had to go 7 games in the first round. Let's see if we can, show up in the first game and do okay and steal one. Maybe I'm not saying they're eyeing Game 2 as the one to get, but they came out so flat last night. We haven't even talked about it. You gave up 37 first quarter points, Anthony.
Yeah.
Come on now.
Well,
you're not going to win. You're not going to beat anybody playing defense like that. I mean, that was a joke.
And one of the criticisms in that opening round against Toronto was, when are you guys going to start acting like it's the playoffs? So, they had the 2-0 lead, and then they fell into a comfort zone They probably just assumed they would steal one of the games in Toronto, and they should have. They were up 8 in Game 4 with about 6 minutes left, and they coughed up the lead. But at some point, it's the sense of urgency. Now, fans want that sense of urgency to be there for 48 minutes, and that's just not realistic. I know
and every night, dude. Like, let's be honest. You just said that's every team in the East has, and I used this term earlier, played with their food. Philadelphia mailed in Game 1.
Yeah, they did.
All right. The Magic mailed in Game 5 in the first round against Detroit. I'm not saying that
Boston.
the Cavs.
Boston's sitting at home right now.
Boston mailed in a couple in that Philly series. I mean, I don't see that in the West, and we can talk about that later. I don't. I think those games are all pretty competitive, and I think those teams are at a higher level, unfortunately. But the Cavs, I mean, they didn't mail last night in, but that first quarter effort defensively and the turnovers were brutal. You're not going to win that way.
All right, one of the storylines emerging, at least when it came to the fans yesterday, and then it was addressed in the postgame audio with Donovan Mitchell. The free throw disparity in total, 31, Matt, 31 to 16.
And I love this guy. You were the one stirring it up last night on Twitter with the free throws. The fans. You're one of them.
31.
You're the ringleader of this, Anthony. You are the ringleader of this, the free throw disparity.
This is how he gets the slippery wizard title.
So here, just laying out facts. So the rarely seen 4 foul disparity that leads to, let me check my math. Was it 15? I'm sorry. It was 19 more free throws yesterday. Rarely seen. It felt like the Cavs were not allowed to contest any shots inside. Either way, here's Donovan Mitchell in the postgame addressing the fact he only had 2 free throws.
I want to separate this from the game. The free throw disparity is not why we lost tonight. I want to make sure I say that. But I don't know. I'm trying to get downhill, and a friend of mine got fined for talking about flop, so I'm not going to try to double down. But I mean, I feel like that's what I got to do at this point. You know what I mean? I'm trying to get downhill, trying to get to the bucket, and sometimes people are in my way, and I'm trying to fight through contact, and I'm not getting these calls. You said I had, 13 in the last series? 16? I mean, I'm just not getting the calls. I don't know why. I don't flop. Maybe that's why. And this isn't just a tonight thing. This has been the entire series, and it's frustrating a little bit, but because I'm such a dynamic driver, right? I can't control that. So if I'm not going to call for me, I got to find a way to finish through that. But you know me, I'm never one to sit here and complain, and that's not why we lost the game tonight or whatever. But at some point in time, I feel like me getting to the basket's got to relate to something. You know what I'm saying? So we'll see.
Matt Derry, you're not buying Donovan Mitchell. That's a complaint. Let's be honest.
Of course it is.
He was very nice about it.
He was.
And I want to address that a little bit with their team in general about some of that niceness yesterday. But is he telling lies?
What's your definition of going to the basket? Because I think Donovan Mitchell might have a different definition. He just said, and give Mitchell credit. Donovan. I know I'm not allowed to use last names when you talk about the Cavs in this market. But give Donovan credit. He did say that's not why we lost the game. But if you go to the basket, that means you're at the rim. I think the Cavs feel like, if we get into the paint, that's considered a drive. Mm-hmm. How many times Mitchell, any of them, drove, got in there, saw Duran standing there, and kicked it out? You mentioned one of them before where they had a 5-on-3, and Mitchell got into the lane, had an 8-footer right there, and kicked it back out. Guys, take the 2.
Well, yeah. Obviously, the Cavs shot 38 threes last night, and 37%. I think by and large that's pretty good. It
wasn't horrible.
The way the shooting's been in the playoffs for a lot of these teams. Last year against Indiana, and I know gentlemen's sweep, they lost in 5 games. He averaged 14 free throws a game. That's on the high side. Obviously, he had to put the whole team on his back last year, and he was limping around. But he found a way against that defense to get to the foul line. In these playoffs, now 8 games, only 2 free throws a game. Is there something that now I've seen a lot of settles, and I thought he took some heat check threes in the first quarter that I was like, man, I'd like to put some stress on the defense of Detroit. I'd like to see if he could get them in foul trouble. Now, he would argue, well, they're not calling fouls. But the heat check threes, I mean, you're not going to draw a foul on heat check threes. And I've seen a lot more settling this year in the playoffs from Donovan Mitchell than in years past.
I mean, I understand, and you were talking about it the other day on the show about the Raptors might be a little bit different in how they play than the Pistons, and maybe if Duren is out there and is energized and is into it, that's a tough guy to go at in the painted area. He had a couple of blocks last night on Jared Allen, which were pretty sweet, to be honest with you, and all ball. I think the Pistons in the back of their mind, or excuse me, the Cavs in the back of their mind, were looking at Duren last night. Go at him, jump into his chest. Try to get him in foul trouble. I thought Duren had his way last night, and that affected how the Cavs went to the basket, period. But it's one game. Change it up a little bit in game 2. Be a little bit more aggressive. Right, I'm with you. I thought there was way too much drive and kick last night.
All right, so I'm not killing Donovan for addressing it. I do think the way he's driving is a little bit different. I know we got to go. There is something that I saw yesterday when it came to J.B. Bickerstaff versus Kenny Atkinson that I'd like to see rectified. We'll get to that. Cavs fans, you know both these coaches very, very well. That's Straight Ahead. Plus, is it time for the Guardians to make a change in leadoff? We've got a baseball man on the air. We're not going to spend a whole bunch of time on Guardians today, but it's something I'd like to pick the brain of Matt Derry, host of the Derry Brothers Guardians podcast. That's all Straight Ahead here on Sports Radio 92.3 The Fan. It's Anthony.
The Fan.
Understanding what the moment needs and what's called for, and then having the poise and confidence to go out and execute it. And, playing in 3 basically elimination games, you understand that. You understand, how important starts are, the urgency. You understand, how to close and how to finish and how to get to your spots. And then you grow belief that you can. And I think that series did a lot of that for us.
That's J.B. Bickerstaff. Cavs fans certainly know all about JB, what he sounds like after his 5 years here. And can you imagine what's running through Dan Gilbert's head as he sat there yesterday, not far from his? How far does he have to drive to get to the arena? From
25 minutes.
25 minutes. Can you imagine what he was thinking as JB got to walk off the floor victorious over the Cavaliers with a 1-0 lead?
Think about this, Anthony. You've got Mike Brown, J.B. Bickerstaff. Should David Blatt coach the Sixers? Then we'd have the triumvirate.
That's right.
As long as
all
it's
the
not
former
John
coaches.
Beeline.
Well, where is Beeline? Where is he?
Oh, my. John Beeline's in Ann Arbor. Just
Of course
chilling.
he is. Of course
Just
he is.
chilling.
Maybe
Oh,
him and Tarico can hang out. I'm kind of with you. Like, I know, yes, I was having some fun on social media yesterday, and I was in my emotions about officiating. And notice, I wasn't bailing out James Harden on any of that. Those were not fouls. That's just physical defense from Cade. And, I mean, the fact that James couldn't get by Duncan Robinson on one of those was humiliating. I mean, it was all-time bad. I do think, and later in the show, we'll see if the Cavs were able to find some things in the fourth quarter that I think they could use to springboard things in the second game, which is going to be a crucial game coming up tomorrow again in Detroit in Game 2. But one thing I will say, regardless of whether you think the officials had, let's say, a pronounced impact on that game yesterday, because we went over the 35-16 free throw disparity, the Cavs did settle for a lot of three-pointers. I thought they were good looks. I thought they got a lot of good looks yesterday. With that said, J.B. Bickerstaff, we played the audio. J.B. for 48 real game minutes and about 3 hours of real time was talking to an official. And I used to say, in Cleveland,
Here we go.
Why is he expending so much energy? He's going to be the boy who cried wolf. They're not going to give him calls. But I got to tell you, yesterday, looking at JB, would have been nice if Kenny would have talked to an official at some point, or, I don't know, gotten off the bench.
Yeah,
it would have been nice to stand up during the game.
Hold on. Every TV shot, and I was not there last night, but every TV shot, you're right, Kenny Atkinson was sitting down. You want to read into it and go, all right, maybe they just feel like we got to get one in Detroit. Oh, we're down 37-16 in the first quarter, whatever it was. Maybe we'll try, but maybe we'll really put our effort into Game 2. I don't think they think that way, but you're right. J.B. Bickerstaff's been whining for years to the official. He works them hard. And you're right. Kenny last night at times was kind of kicking back on the bench. But, I mean, did that have an effect on the outcome? No. I truly don't. The Cavs had no answers for Duren underneath. And you mentioned Duncan Robinson. We haven't even talked about Anthony. He had a whale of a game. He played very well. Very well. And what about him and Harden? Little chest bumping, little
well, they had to, hold
shoving.
on. They're still reviewing that in the league office for malicious intent.
Yeah, malicious intent.
What did they say?
Yeah.
No, it wasn't malicious. They said a hostile act.
Yeah.
They thought James Harden committed a hostile act.
I know.
When obviously the whole thing was instigated by Duncan Robinson. Hey, he was feeling good. I have no problem with players, having a little extra. But James wasn't going to sit there and take it when he went through his shoulder. And now a despicable act in the Joe Buck voice yesterday.
I haven't seen heat like that since yesterday when you called into the afternoon show.
Yeah, well, and you know what? They're going to have some fun at my expense today. Rightfully so. James Harden was horrendous. But I want to get to something. So you said, all right, maybe Atkinson, it's just get one of the two games. But even Atkinson talked about the lack of a sense of urgency. Listen to Kenny after the game.
I thought second half better. Again, first half it wasn't just their bigs. I thought just overall they were more forceful, more energy. I thought we, again, much better in the second half. But energy scale of 1 to 10, they were 9.5. We were probably at a 7. And that's, it's tough to win on the road with that kind of disparity.
All right, scale.
I don't know where he got 7 from.
The 7.
Because I was
very
about
specific.
4.
Yeah.
You'd go lower, Owen? You'd go even to a 4?
Yeah, I'd go down to a 4.
All right, Matt.
We watch different games.
Matt, all right. And Kenny was right there on the sidelines. What did you think? Scale of 1 to 10 on Kenny Atkinson and his level of urgency yesterday? Because I have a -7.
Oh, jeez.
Like glued to the bench like Jared Allen in the second half.
So you want him to rant and rave and jump up and down?
I think you got
I didn't think the officiating was that bad.
But it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I remember Phil Jackson. He would go to his arsenal. He would pick out the sage old wise one. He wouldn't say anything. He'd sit on the bench, right? Play through everything. Even in the NBA Finals, he's got his guys playing through, big runs against his team, and he would just sit there, very stoic. He'd be handing out books on the bench to each and every player at halftime. But one thing he would do is in a strategic and calculated way, he would decide which game he was going to go after the refs.
Well, you want Kenny to talk to the refs about the free throws?
I think I'd like to see him.
Because Kenny doesn't think it's the refs' problem. He thinks it's his own guy's problem.
Sure.
Listen to this.
I mean, I'm just going to continue to plead with him to get to the paint, get to the rim. That's all you can do. That's all you control. We just got to keep driving the ball. You meet aggressiveness with aggressiveness, and then we got to make the right reads. So keep getting to the paint. It'll turn. It usually does with the free throws.
Listen, there is a such thing as buying some calls here and there on the road. And I'm just saying,
I'm playing for him and you're pleading to me to drive to the rim, and I'm going, Coach, can you say something to the refs for me?
Like, what do you think, Donovan?
I'm going to keep driving. You got to say something.
I just said Donovan averaged 14 free throws a game last year against the Pacers in that series. He had a 21 free throw game in that series. This year, he's averaging 2 free throws a game. And even if I was in agreement with you, I think the Cavs, they settle a little bit, and Donovan settled. All I'm saying is the game was tied with like 4 minutes left. Might want to buy yourself a call. Might want to get up off the bench and talk to an official. JB did it for 3 hours.
Anthony, they tied the game at 93. Now, what happened on the next 2 possessions? I think the Cavs had a turnover. Pistons came down. Cunningham to Duren dunk.
It was all Cade.
And then Cunningham to Duren dunk again. And yes, we've been on for 53 minutes here, and I've even mentioned the best player on the floor is on their team.
Yeah.
It just
100%.
is. Cade Cunningham didn't have an MVP-like performance last night. So asking Kenny Atkinson to jump up and down that, I don't know, Cade traveled or Duren pushed off. No. When you got it down to 0 and it was 93-93, the diff was 0. and
despite all the turnovers, you were there. You were right in that game.
2 dunks. What do you want the coach to do? The one thing I'll get on Kenny Atkinson about is when Thomas Bryant is giving you very little, get him off the floor. Put Jared Allen back out there.
Well, it would have been nice to see Allen again.
Please put Jared. He spent way too much time on the bench. Not that Jared Allen is ever going to pull a Wilt Chamberlain like he did on Sunday against Toronto, but he needed to be back out there. That was one where TB just wasn't bringing it, and
all right.
You got to get Allen back out there.
Yeah, to the fans, Alvis in Cleveland. What's up, Alvis?
Hey, how you doing?
Yeah.
Good morning.
That'd be quick.
Hey, brother.
Man, my whole thing is this, man. That ISO ball is ridiculous because they're not moving, they're not cutting, they're just standing there watching. And then I agree with what you said, what one of you guys said earlier about driving to the basket, you right under the hoop and they kick it back out. They've been doing this both series, and I'm not understanding that. As far as the refs, they got to play through it because they're not going to get no calls. You know, they go down and they get hacked, but then when they go on the other end to defend, you put a fingernail on them and they're calling calls. So they need to really adjust, man. They live and die by the 3, which is a gift and a curse. But
all right,
they have to move the ball. Move the ball and kick it out because when they started moving the ball and kicking it out, it was open. They were creating shots and they were hitting buckets.
Yeah, Strus and Ellis got things going. Schroeder as well. He turned the ball over. I know we got to go, Matt, but I will say in the second quarter there were some glaring possessions where no Evan Mobley, no Jared Allen. They threw the ball back out to James Harden with like 8 on the shot clock. And then Bryant didn't know, do I come up and set a screen? Do I not? And it's like, did you guys call a play on this possession? And it happened 2 straight times. and both of them ended up horrendously. One of them was another turnover and an easy breakout the other way. 216-474-0092. Later in the show, we got Danny Cunningham. He was there in Detroit. He'll join us at 9 o'clock. We have about last night. Guardians lose again, but there is a bigger issue brewing with the baseball team, and it has to do with the leadoff. That's all coming up straight ahead, but why I actually feel optimistic after what I saw last night, that's all coming up hour number 2 here on Sports Radio 92.3 The Fan.
Risk Hospital Sports Desk, I'm Jeff Thomas.
Baseball, basketball, and the Browns. It's why you need the afternoon drive. Weekdays starting at 2.
I think we're on a good headspace. We know a lot of this was self-inflicted. We fix those things up, and it's a whole different game, and we win the next one, and that's the whole goal right now. Scratch this one, look at the film, fix what we have to, and win this next one.
Evan Mobley, after the game, in which I saw, outside of the obvious Harden criticism for all those pathetic turnovers, I saw people going after Evan Mobley big time yesterday. And I think part of it is when Jared Allen goes to the bench, you're expecting somebody like Evan, who we thought as the series went on later and later against the Toronto Raptors, that Evan was starting to show a few more tools that maybe you didn't know he had or didn't know he possessed in the playoffs. Typically, and we're joined by Matt Derry, who is in enemy territory. He watched it last night. He is sickened by what he saw out of that Cavs team. But, Matt, I'm sure you're familiar as a listener of the show, a friend of the show. Owen typically goes to his bag of tricks when we start playing Evan Mobley audio, because I think that some people on this show are not buying Evan Mobley and toughness.
The sheriff has been on a sabbatical here lately.
Oh, man.
The enforcement of things down low is not working. You brought up, the foul trouble for Jared Allen. It's clearly affecting Evan Mobley. Here's Evan talking about Jarrett and how much it's impacting him right now.
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough on him with the rhythm and everything. You don't get to play that long. He's a big asset to our team. He definitely helps on the boards and defending as well. It's tough, but things like that happen, and we got to adjust.
Yeah, look, we all saw what Allen did at the end of Game 7, and he saved the day. Max Strus was
saved the season.
He really did. And that was a Jared Allen I hadn't seen a lot of. He putting it all together, defense and offense, in the same 15-minute stretch. It was outstanding. It's also not something I expect to continue to see. That was almost an out-of-body experience. And I think if you're waiting for that from Allen the rest of the way, we need Evan Mobley to step up, because I don't think you're going to see that all that frequently from Allen.
No. Look, Jared Allen is a big that is kind of old school, and but doesn't have the arsenal that Evan Mobley has offensively. Evan Mobley's talent is so talented. That's why I was talking about before. You're paying him $47 a year. He knocks down some threes. He brings the ball up half the time, it seems like. The kid's got talent. But, my gosh, him having to play the 5 last night with Allen on the bench in foul trouble and going up against Duren was unfortunately a mismatch. It just was. He just doesn't have the body type and the strength. I'm not going to say toughness, because that's just an old bit. But the strength is to hang with Duren, and that's a problem. So if Allen's on the floor and Mobley's able to roam and play the 4 and do his thing, they're in a much better position. But last night was a night where you're like, all right, giving this guy the max, we need you, because our other big guys on the bench in foul trouble. And he didn't do it.
Kevin O'Connor tweeted, and we played some of his audio.
He was killing.
And he's not a fan of Evan Mobley. Even after it was crickets after some of the big moments from Evan, later in the series against Toronto, it was kind of crickets. But he's been very vocal. Does not think he should have won Defensive Player of the Year last year. He had this to say: Cavs have no chance if Evan Mobley isn't better the rest of the series. Got punked on by Duren, doesn't chase boards, gets pushed around on D, doesn't dunk on offense. It's round 2, and he's played with preseason toughness. He shouldn't have been in there to close over Allen. Now, it's funny. Ouch. He says that about the dunking. I'm pretty sure Evan Mobley led the NBA in dunks this year, but maybe he means in the playoffs.
Preseason toughness? Come on.
Yeah, I think that's going a little far, but yeah.
That's a little far.
I think even Evan would admit, right? It's time for him to do a lot better and perform, because maybe this isn't. You never know series to series. These things can change. I thought that James Harden would have some successful matchups. We did see some of that in the fourth. He did get by Duncan Robinson and Cade in the fourth quarter. I think there were 4 or 5 straight possessions that he broke down as part of that run. I mean, he had 9 when they went on an 11-0 run. He had 9 of those points. He got to the foul line. So we saw some good things finally after those two putrid, back-to-back quarters in the second and third that really put the Cavs in the hole. But I do think they found some things in the fourth. But you're going to need to find some offense from some other guys, certainly.
Well, him. I mean, to me, Tobias Harris won them the first series with strong games in games 6 and 7 for Detroit.
Oh, it's huge.
And they get him the ball in the post. And I get it. It's the new NBA. No more post-ups. It's not allowed anymore. But, seriously, Harris sometimes on a post-up does that turn and fade, and that's his game. Face-up jumpers. Mobley can do the same thing. But instead, he does roam the perimeter a lot. But he's got so much talent. But it just, last night, you're right. I mean, tie at 93, and you get 2 Duren dunks. And I'm not saying those are both on Mobley. He had to help on one that Cunningham made a nice pass. But
and then he cleared him out.
Got to do better.
Cunningham dropped it off and just cleared everyone out. And that wasn't one where I was like, where's the call? That was just a physical, forceful drive. Cavs had so many possessions where it was aimless, rudderless. Are we running a high screen or roll? Do we know if we want to come up and screen for Harden or Mitchell? They were with a purpose there when that game got tight in the fourth, and I think ultimately that's why they were able to pull ahead.
I just think Mobley, there's got to be more on the offensive end. I get it, and making threes is great, and he does it well. He shot
2 last night, 2 of 5.
Shot it pretty well last night, but there's got to be more in this series. This is, like I said earlier, this is not Cleve TA, Jeff Myers, and the Orange High School varsity team than the Raptors. This is the 1 seed. Detroit won 60 games. Are they a great team and the greatest 1 seed in the history of the East? No. I think the Cavs can win this series. Pistons are beatable, but you got to up your game. I mean, they're 4-4. The Cavs are now in 8 playoff games. That's not going to cut it.
Aaron in Cleveland joins us next. Go ahead, Aaron.
Hey, how y'all fellas doing?
What's going on?
Good, bud.
Hey, 2 things I wanted to say real quick. One, Lima, you just said somebody tweeted about Evan Mobley. He's right. Evan Mobley has to step up. He has to play better in order for us to win this series. He played real soft yesterday. And 2, if you're in the starting lineup, we're expecting some type of contribution. Why is Dean Wade, Mr. Invisible, in the starting lineup? Not saying that that's the reason why we lost or anything, but he gives us no contribution at all. No offense. He won't shoot the ball. His defense is terrible because when he was checking Cade Cunningham yesterday,
Cade got the best of him yesterday. Now, he did completely take Brandon Ingram before the injury out of that last series, and that was a big part of the formula. But okay. You're right. Last night, Cade got the best of him. He didn't really seem to bother Cade all that much, despite I think were some pretty good regular season numbers on him.
Yep. And like I said, he gives us nothing. He's scared to shoot the ball.
Yeah.
It's like if you're going to be in the starting lineup, you have to give us some type of contribution.
All right, Aaron. Thank you. Here's the deal. I mean, that's going to be discussed, and I wouldn't be surprised, Matt, would you, if they made a move and went with Strus back? I mean, it's kind of been, game by game in a lot of ways when it came to Strus. And I know normally we say it's not who starts, it's who finishes.
Right.
But when you give up 37 points in the first quarter, it might have to be who starts the next game. Do you think that's an obvious move that Kenny Atkinson's going to make?
He might, but I mean, think about what we're talking about here, Tone. I mean, Dean Wade or Max Strus? Is that really what it's going to come down to? Is starting one or the other? He started Wade to put on Cunningham. Mm-hmm. Length. You can't. Donovan Mitchell nor James Harden are going to guard Cade Cunningham.
No.
So the other option is Wade or I guess Strus. And Max Strus played a great game.
He did. He was awesome.
He was phenomenal.
And following up after the Game 7.
You want to start him in this next game? Okay. I mean, that. But again, your big guns are the ones that are going to have to really fire here if you're going to win this series. And you complain about Dean Wade. Who else you want?
Yeah, these
guys are all kind of the same, to be honest.
These also are very flawed teams. You mentioned the Eastern Conference. Each of these teams, they have guys. I guess the Knicks starting 5 does make probably the most sense of any of the starting 5s, but they have their offensive issues as well. We just haven't seen them in the last 3 games. But these aren't perfect teams. These aren't the Warriors of 2017 where every starter is a Hall of Famer. Like, you're going to have a weakness, and then you've got to decide which of your weaknesses are you willing to put up with the most. I mean, it's interesting. Max Strus has good regular season numbers. I know we got to go against Cade Cunningham, but in the end, Cade's just going to be able to pull up and shoot over him. So he's probably going to get to where he wants to get to. They did call that Strus on Tobias Harris. Was it Tobias Harris yesterday? Where Harris went into him 3 different times, backing him in, and then they called the foul on Max Strus.
Yeah.
Like, those are the things I just don't understand. And I think those mounted over the course of the game. And in the end, no, I'm not blaming the officials. I know I've brought them up consistently, but you've got to match. You've got to match their intensity, and it has to be from the start, and maybe it will be with Max Strus in the starting lineup. 216-474-0092. We'll take more of your reaction, and excited. 7:30, I did pencil it in. 7:30, we have a State of the Guardians situation with Matt Derry, who is a big-time, diehard Guardians observer, a podcaster, the Derry Brothers podcast, which, of course, we carry. I want to get your thoughts on whether it's time to make the move today on May 6th with the starting lineup with somebody in leadoff, Mr. Kwan. We'll get to that straight ahead here on Sports Radio 92.3 The Fan. XTENDAV.com. I hope you've already made the move, because if you have...
runs for the Guardians, a 3-run homer from Rhys Hoskins. Meanwhile, the Royals now with a 5-game winning streak. And now find 92.3 The Fan on YouTube. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Get the best content from our shows each and every weekday. That's 92.3 The Fan on YouTube. Headline sports news every 20 minutes right here on 92.3 The Fan. From the University Hospital Sports Desk, I'm Jeff Thomas.
Nine o'clock today, not only will we have Danny Cunningham on, but before he joins us, we have Game 3, Cavaliers-Pistons tickets. So you will want to get on board. I saw the ticket prices. They're hitting triple digits. Not exactly the LeBron prices, Matt, but...
Are you going?
I will be there.
Nice.
Everybody will be downtown. We have a big concert at the stadium. Owen, Keith, you guys are all going to that.
Plus, there's guards at 6, I believe.
And so it's going to be pandemonium.
With a bobblehead.
Oh, is that the Manzardo bobblehead, the weird one?
Yeah. Come on.
What do you mean? What's weird about it?
It's a Mandalorian one.
What's wrong with that?
It's a very niche thing. I don't know. Daryl will break it down for 4 hours tomorrow.
I see nothing wrong at all. Come on. It's a good giveaway, but it's going to be crazy downtown. So if you want your chance to win tickets, you can do that 9 o'clock today, right before Danny Cunningham comes on. Matt Derry is joining us from Detroit. Now, you had something you wanted to say. So we talked about the free throw disparity. And look, there are a lot of fans after Harden. Harden's got to be number one, right? Isn't that number one on the list of culprits yesterday based on what we saw in the second and third quarters?
Well, we might as well just go there. You can power rank your culprits if
I'm
you'd like.
going, Matt, I'll get yours. I'm going... Number 1, Harden. Number 2, how about Donovan Mitchell does need to get to the free throw line? He can't just be settling for threes.
He's your best player. You got to show up.
He does, and that's part of it. That's part of it. Number 3, you know what? Over Evan Mobley, I'm going to go with Kenny Atkinson leaving Allen on the bench.
I was going to say rotations. Yeah.
The rotations, yes. First half, I get it. Foul trouble.
Well, he had 3 in the first quarter. They pulled him out. He played 6 minutes in the first half. He ended with 4 fouls.
Yeah. So
if you're going to get 3 in the first quarter, you might as well foul out of the game.
Self-imposed. That's a self-imposed foul trouble situation. One that you created in the second half.
Yeah, Jared Allen could be on the list too. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
I mean, he did nothing. He's the one playing. I mean, yes, did they get out-coached last night? I wouldn't go that far. It wasn't that type of game, I don't think. I think you got to put Jared Allen on the list. And I'll say this, too.
They brought Duncan Robinson back in. They weren't worried about his foul trouble. Now, I know he's not a physical defender.
If Kenny's getting out-coached by JB, we've got a much bigger problem than...
Well, the series is over.
The Wills
we can say it right
gone.
now. Wait, we can say it right now. Owen, sorry, interrupt you, preempt you. The series is over if JB is going to out-coach Kenny Atkinson.
Yes, I agree. I'm pretty sure that the organizational structure as we know it is over if that's happening.
Yeah.
It's funny because here in Michigan, you're right. J.B. Bickerstaff went from down 3-1 of the Magic with people going, oh, my gosh, Jamal Mosley's getting fired the minute the series ends, win or lose. They could have fired. And, J.B. Bickerstaff's down 3-1, and then the Pistons win that series, and Bickerstaff gets extended right after the series. As crazy as that is. But he's done a good look. He won Coach of the Year in some circles, and they won 60 games. One other thing, Anthony, I wanted to bring up, and I know we're going to talk about the Guardians too, but the other reason why maybe the Cavs weren't going to the rim enough, not only is Duren there, Asar Thompson is everywhere.
Oh, the chase down last night.
Yeah, a couple of chase down blocks, vintage LeBron stuff, Tayshaun Prince stuff like that.
It was nasty. I was hoping it would be a goaltend. Nope, it was clean.
The Cavs know he's lurking around, and he's not a great offensive player. I know the Cavs didn't even guard him when he touched the ball.
Yeah, but that's dangerous to just lose sight of him because of the way he can crash.
Yeah, he crashes the boards and the block shots. So not just Duren. So I get it why the Cavs maybe were thinking in the back of their minds, let's not get to the rim, but hopefully the adjustments made for tomorrow night that they're taking it to the 10 a little bit more.
Hey, guys, Cavs, just assume that we're the slowest fast break team I've ever seen in basketball. James Harden got out on a run out, And I don't understand how James Harden, at 37, this many years, this much experience, doesn't just assume somebody is coming from behind. How can he not just assume somebody's coming from behind? How about a head on a swivel once in a while? And, he wasn't the only one. Donovan, a few of them got tracked down from behind. And that's why, fast break points. The Cavs, are always perpetually.
After last year, he was on a playoff team, and they decided to let him go, let him walk. So I thought he played well. I thought there are times in games when you're like, all right, Dennis Schroeder's really helping us. And I get it size-wise, defensively. Who's he going to guard?
What did he get teed up for yesterday? I'm still waiting for that replay. It's like Amazon and Peacock have collectively gotten together and said, you know what? We're not going to show replays. We're above it. Or we don't have enough camera angles to show replays. Like the ball that went off Mobley's hands, at the end of that horrendous Game 6 loss. We never saw another view of it.
I thought he got it teed up for getting in James Capers' face, didn't he?
I don't know.
I thought he was pretty close to.
Because Iron Eagles kid had to tell us. Go through the whole story. I'm not. He's great.
On Noah.
He's great. He had to tell us what happened secondhand, as if it's the 1940s. And
because it wasn't shown at all.
Yeah, and he's doing an old-time radio call of what happened.
He wrote it down on a piece of paper and held it up by his locker.
Sponsored by Ovaltine. What are we doing? Can we get a replay? It's the playoffs. Do we not have enough cameras in the country to cover all the different NBA playoff games? So anyway, that's what I'm annoyed about. Cavs lose 111-101. I do think, and we have about last night, 7:45 at 8 o'clock. I will tell you some things I saw in the fourth quarter I think they can take advantage of in this series. So it's not all doom and gloom. The feel-out game's not the end of the series or anything like that. Obviously, Detroit is the favorite. They were the favorite going in, and now they won that game. And hopefully, again, James Harden can dribble the basketball. Guardians lost last night. Matt, you were joking that you were going to be more dialed into the Guardians game yesterday. I took it at face value, actually.
And I sent a text to Anthony yesterday, and I said, hey, looking forward to the show. I'll be watching Guardians and checking in on Cavs. JK, just kidding. And then I said, actually, I'm not. But I had two screens going last night. I watched the whole basketball game. Let's be honest. It's playoffs. I pretty much watch every Guardians game. You mentioned my brother and I do the show. We got to talk about Stephen Kwan. And I know Jose Ramirez is kind of a problem right now. And look, he'll get it together. He's a Hall of Famer. But when your leadoff man's hitting has an OPS, let's geek out for a second here.
Yeah.
574 OPS.
That's not good.
The leadoff guy hits the most. When you bat first, you sometimes get 5 at-bats in a game. They've got to move him down. They have to.
So here's what I said, Matt, and this is why I love that you're on here and you've been in the media, you've been in different places. This is one of the differences on a baseball team in a place like Cleveland, small market Cleveland, where I think maybe there's one or at most two reporters that cover this team on a daily basis. If this were the Yankees, this would be every day an assault on the manager with 5, 6, 7 questions about the leadoff situation. And they're just not going to happen.
Let's call it what it is, all right? On this radio station, we know how to do radio shows here. The station's thriving, and but Browns and Cavs right now are ahead of the baseball team. They just are and have been. I love the Guardians. That's my number one. That's my illness and sickness. But you're right. Stephen Kwan now, it's been going on almost a full year because he had a nice first half last year. He's a really good player. Don't get me wrong. He was an all-star. He's a gold glove outfielder. But when you're, lofting lazy fly balls to center and left every at-bat, you're striking out more than you have in your entire career. And your whole own radio announcer. I mean, listen to I watch the games and I put the radio audio on and I have Hammy going. Hammy's torching him a little bit. Going, he knows Kwan's got to be better. Stephen Vogt's got to move him down in the order and let him take a breather.
All right, so what are you doing? Because all the metrics are bad, too. It's not like he's getting unlucky, the BABIP or anything like that. The exit velo, the swing speed, it's all bad.
Yeah, it is. I'm moving DeLauder to the top of the order.
Okay, why am I hearing Bazana then from all the fans? They want to put a rookie in his first month, his first weeks. They want to put him in leadoff and give him that pressure.
I know Zach Meisel and TJ on their pod talked about Bazana maybe leading off because he's got the speed. He's a contact guy, and maybe you want to keep DeLauder in the 2 spot. I'm not ready to move Travis after a week and a half, 2 weeks, into the leadoff spot. I think Chase DeLauder can lead off. I really believe that for now. Maybe you move everybody up. Maybe Jose hits second for a little while, and you just bump everybody up a spot and throw Quan in at 6 or 7. Angel Martinez, I think, could lead off too. There's options. The offense is better than it was a year ago.
Yeah.
How about this? The entire division is below 500. Did you see this?
And Skubal goes down.
Still tied for first in all of this.
It's unbelievable.
Right. So you're 18 and 19, and you're tied for first. That's crazy. So now's the time to do it.
So
just
you're
to
saying
give them a breather. Just to give them a breather.
Okay, so you're saying a breather. What does that look like? Give me some context to how long of a situation that is, because I don't understand how Quan at age 28, the swing speed goes away. Like, can you explain that one to me? That seems like an oddity.
I wish I could. I think he's in between. I think he's just struggling. The confidence is not there. Last year, I thought it was in the shoulder injury, and it's not. This year, they're pitching him away, and he's not just serving him into left field and hit line drives. He's still trying to hit balls to the pull field. There you go. Let's geek out. I'm putting him in the 6 or 7 spot and just giving him a break. And if he gets hot and starts hitting line drives, then you move him back up. That's what I would do for right now, because they're not scoring runs. I mean, they had the 2 games Friday and Saturday in Sacramento, and they scored 22 runs.
Yeah.
And now they have 6 runs the last 4.
Well, Schneemann has kind of come back to the pack a little bit, which I think you expect.
You expected that. I mean, he had such a hot start, but
Rocchio a little bit too, but Bo Naylor. Matt, that's the other one.
Don't get me started.
I honestly, at this point, like,
don't get me started.
What?
Send him down.
Yeah, I don't understand. I don't understand how he can still be with the ball club every day.
Especially when you have David Fry back in a catching role. He's not the greatest catcher by any means, but at least you have him back, and Hedges has shown a little more consistency at the plate than you've seen in his career too. Bo probably needs to.
He needs to play more.
Yeah.
I'm with you, Owen.
Bo needs a little eye-opener of like, hey, maybe this isn't for you right now.
A couple of years ago, the Tigers sent Torkelson down, and people went, what are they doing? He needed a break. The Yankees have Volpe at AAA right now because he's not ready, and he's not at the standard of what they expect in New York. So I wouldn't have any issue with sending Bo Naylor to Columbus for a couple of weeks and seeing if he can get his swing together and get some confidence.
Now,
just try it.
Now, early in the season, we were looking at their schedule, and we were like, oh, this could get ugly early, right?
Yeah.
But they not only weathered the storm.
They did well.
They against some big-name pitchers, too. They really impressed me to start the year. But here they are. They're 18 and 19. Is this more like what you thought they would be at this juncture?
No, I thought they'd be a little better. I didn't think they'd be 18 and 19. I thought they'd hover around 500, be a little bit ahead of it, because I really like the start. Messick, Cantillo, Bybee's been better, although the other night he didn't get a lot of help. And Gavin Williams had a bad night last night, but I think he's been good. I think the rotation's been all right. Every bullpen in this division has issues, so that's what makes you feel a little bit better. I think the offense has been all right, but last 2 nights have been brutal. And they had a fill-in pitcher for Kansas City last night, Stephen Kolek, and the Guardians got 4 hits. Like, that can't happen.
Yeah, maybe the only saving grace is that they didn't tax the bullpen yesterday, because, you know, that thing could be a runaway freight train in early May, and it's certainly something you don't want to get bogged down in at this time. So you got Holderman, you got two strong innings, and that was much needed.
Yeah, he actually doesn't look bad since he's they sent him to Columbus and somehow straightened him out. He's been better, but
Jose's going to be better, right? Jose.
Oh,
he's going to be better.
I can't believe they talked about him last night too. Hammy and Rosie were like, "What's he's in between. He's a little jumpy. He just needs a home run or a big base hit to kind of get his confidence again." But you think about it: Quan, Jose, Manzardo, Bo Naylor, all have struggled, and the team's in first place, like Owen said. So that's a good thing. And they're playing DeLauder and Bazana. Plenty of Guardians/Indians fans are out there. They go, they'll never play the kids. They bury them. Those kids are playing, and they're playing every day. That's good. That's what we want.
All right, good stuff. Matt Derry, what a breakdown. That's just a precursor to what you'd hear on the Derry Brothers podcast.
I could talk Guardians all day, dude.
We'll get the farm system. We'll get a total breakdown. Anyway, when we come back, it's about last night. Young John will be in here. And they say 2 things are undefeated. I can't say the first, but the second one is Father Time. However, did you see what LeBron James did yesterday? I don't care if it was in a loss. More on that straight ahead here on Sports Radio 92.3 The Fan. Real estate.
much can happen around the globe that we never hear of.
I really don't give a I mean, it had nothing to do with me. I mean, they moved the meeting. I didn't miss it. I was just trying to get a sweet haircut.
How it is when you win in Cleveland, man. They love you. When you lose, it's the way it should be.
He's a piece of crap. The kid, he sucks. He's sucked his whole career.
I got rumors about him. He couldn't please his wife, so now he's divorced.
That sounds really good, but I'm not 6'5", and I don't have the athletic ability to play in the NBA.
Now, the Ken Carman Show with Anthony Lima give their thoughts on what you might have missed about last night.
The Cleveland Cavaliers lost Game 1 of the Eastern Conference semifinals to the Detroit Pistons. The Cavs looked like the better team last night to me, but the turnovers and the missed everything. And
wait, you said
I think the Cavs looked like a better team.
You did?
Yeah, other than the turnovers.
Wait,
the Cavs,
I'm supposed to be the homer here. What happened?
Other than the turnovers,
there were
21 of them.
Is this because they look better than Philadelphia, your team?
You yelled at me for last year. Oh, don't overreact over Game 1. The Sixers lost by 40. The Cavs lost by 9. Like, come on, it's not that bad. But the Cavs.
I do not think the Cavs looked good last night.
I think they looked like the better team that was playing horribly. But they're 0-4 on the road now. They were 25-16 on the road in the regular season, but Detroit was 31-9 at home. The Cavs got to win one on the road. Which game do you think they take on the road if they get there?
Matt, I don't know. I think they gotta win Game 2.
I think tomorrow night.
Yeah, they've got to win Game 2 because
let's bring it up. Let's say it. By the way, this kid's hair is the best hair in radio I've ever seen.
Well, he had a pompadour yesterday. I wanted to make note of it because it was fluffed up in the middle, and you can see it on YouTube. He had or a pompadour or whatever they call it. That's what he had.
I like pompadour better than
pompadour.
John has not evolved to a full pompadour yet.
It's phenomenal, John.
Oh Lord,
Good for you.
Yeah. What were you going to say, though, man?
But are you worried right now? Like, where is your worried percentage?
I'm worried if James Harden can't dribble the ball. I don't know. I don't know how they're going to win the series. Like, what was that? What was that for 2 quarters? Every time he dribbled, I'm like, they're going to take it. They're going to take it. And I didn't see. It's not like, look, he has bad turnovers always, but he at times has a slick handle. Like, I don't know. I was waiting to see if someone was going to ask him to see if he'd bail out with an excuse about the surgery he didn't have, playing through the broken finger. But no, it didn't come up yesterday. And it's against this team, you better figure out that handle. You cannot be sloppy.
He asked when they're going to win a game on the road, which they need to do. I'll call it for tomorrow night. The Cavs did not play well at all last night. And we're in a 93-93 tie with 4 minutes to go. How? They can't play any worse than they did last night, right? They were horrible.
I don't know. They were pretty horrible to start Game 7. They were very horrible in Game
3.
Whichever one. They've not been very good this playoff series, and I guess that's what gives you hope that they've still got a lot. There's something out there that they're good at, and they haven't done it yet. So
they just haven't. It's been 3 weeks. I know they won the first 2 games against Toronto, and we were on easy street. We were thinking, okay, the Cavs have ratcheted up. It's the playoffs, and they're playing a worse team. But have they ever looked like dominating? Like, they went on the great run in Game 7 at the end of the first half, into the second half. But that's it. Those are the only moments.
They were down 10 in the first quarter, ended up clawing it back. They were down 12 in the second quarter, clawed it back, and then Jared Allen took over in the third in Game 7. They've had more not good games in the playoffs than they've had good.
Guardians lost last night 5-3. Reese Hoskins homered to take the lead. Gavin Williams gave it up immediately. Yeah, whatever. Chase DeLauder, I called him out 2 weeks ago,
yes,
and since then,
yes, you did.
Every time he gets a hit, somebody's commenting, someone's tagging me.
Well, they should.
He's hitting .442 with a home run and 9 RBIs, 3 Ks and 6 walks over his last 12 games.
You were the slump buster.
I was. I guess I was.
Why did you call Chase DeLauder?
Because he was hit. He was like 7 for his last 47 or something like that. He was 1 for his last 23 at that point. But if that worked, I think this is going to work. Jose Ramirez, you're hitting 158 over your last 14 games.
Let him know.
I am more concerned about you than Slade Ciccone. Stephen Kwan, you're hitting 169 over your last 19 games. I am more concerned about you than Slade Ciccone. That's going to fix it. The Guardians are fixed.
Owen,
magically.
Can you get this audio right over there, the corner of Carnegie in Ontario?
I will send it there. I will send it to the high seas. I will send it to Atlantis. That way they can all hear it.
Yeah,
the Dairy Brothers Guardians cast featuring John.
Ken's
gotta have him on.
Ken's cruise ship's okay, right? This is okay.
Yeah, he's on one of the ones that are still okay.
He's on the one that's good, and they'll let actually Doc.
Well, we know he's not on the one that's bad. There's definitely one that's bad.
All right, move along.
LeBron James scored 27 points last night in a 108-90 loss to the Thunder.
Wait, you can't just casually say LeBron James scored 27 points.
You have to start it with 41-year-old.
Dude, 41-year-old.
41-year-old ancient LeBron James, 27 points, 4 boards, 6 assists, 12 of 17 from the field, and 3 of 6 from 3. Only had 1 free throw attempt, though. If the Cavs had LeBron from game 1 of this series, how long
They're going to the
do you
NBA
expect the Cavs
Finals.
to go?
They're going to the NBA Finals. Matt, I said this a few weeks ago.
Only took an hour and 51 minutes.
If he were on this Cavs team right now, what are they missing? They're missing competent wing play. And what is important in the playoffs? You got to have – look at Paul George, how he was able to help Philadelphia get past the Boston Celtics. All of a sudden, they got a great wing. Like, you have a guy like LeBron James, I think they'd be going to the NBA Finals. I think they would almost have no weaknesses.
LeBron James or Dean Wade, 216.
Yeah, I don't think we'd be arguing about who to start anymore, whether it was Max Strus or Dean Wade or whatever. Can you believe what he's doing, Matt? This is every day. No. I'm sure people just have fatigue when you have a guy that's been in the league for 23 years or whatever it is. There's fatigue. But how can you not bring it up? To me, that was a bigger story than Oklahoma City taking a 1-0 edge. This was a game for longer than I expected it to be.
They're not going to win the series. Oklahoma City is just superior. But Reeves on one leg, no Luka.
He's
and the
been awful.
Lakers are hanging around. Lakers are hanging around due to LeBron, and he's making Marcus Smart and some of these guys better. He's been great. Even the haters have got to admit, LeBron's been awesome for 41 years old.
And finally,
Mark Cuban came out on a podcast yesterday, Portfolio Players Front Office Sports.
Of course.
That he is the one that fronted the NIL money for Fernando Mendoza, bringing him to Indiana.
So Cuban won the Hoosiers a football championship.
The question has to be asked. The Ivy League can compete in the FBS if you get all of the billionaires to fund NIL. This is what's going to happen.
Well,
Johns Hopkins is moving up to D1
right now. I don't know if they have money to fund. Matt, what do you think?
Oh, just stop.
Could another team...
You're not going anywhere.
Reckless speculation.
Could another team like emerge out of the abyss to be able to just prop up for one season a new NCAA football championship? Is it that easy?
Well, first of all, it's not just one season. I mean, yes, Indiana won the national championship last year, but they're going on 2 years of pretty darn good football. Yes, it helps to get big money guys in there like Cuban and boosters, but let's give Kurt Signetti some props.
Oh, yeah.
I think
for convincing Mark Cuban to donate all that money.
No, you got to have the coach too. The dude, whatever he touches, it's not like Fernando Mendoza. Fernando Mendoza was good at Cal, but he became great at IU. So that doesn't surprise me. I'm not sure why this just came out now.
Mark Cuban, yeah, Mark Cuban. I don't think there's a day that ends in Y that he's not doing a podcast or explaining how to fix the country or sports. It's every day. If you want to just run for office, Mark, run for office. I enjoy listening to you, but if you care this much about it and you have the resources, why don't you just run for office? What's he waiting for? All he wants to do is come on and talk about how every politician is doing the wrong thing. You know you have the resources to actually do this.
Yeah, Cuban, Stephen A., they're all going to run.
That's the ticket.
It's going to be great.
Stephen A.'s too busy. He's got Friday's First Take with Skip Bayless. They're reuniting.
Man. Set your DVRs.
Will you be dialed in? Will you have your TiVo set up, Matt Derry?
No, I won't. I mean, I'll see clips, I'm sure, on social media. That's all you need to see.
That's it for About Last Night?
Thank you, young John. Yes, I have to explain to John who Skip Bayless and First Take was. He's very young.
How old is he? How old?
24.
17.
You would be surprised at the things that we bring up that, hey, you know this? Never heard of him.
He had all the WWE people you bring up.
Rick Mahorn. Keith Britton was going over, hey, do you guys want Rick Mahorn for the series? They'll talk some trash or whatever. Yeah. And John was like, who? Huh? Never heard. Bill Lambier? Huh? Joe Dumars? Huh? Yeah. Chuck Daly? Huh?
Do you know who Michael Jackson is?
Yes, I know Michael Jackson.
Okay. All right.
Just making sure. We have to recalibrate. All right.
The movie's out.
I'm going to watch it, too. It'll be the first movie I've seen in like 7 years. I will watch it. All right.
Same.
We'll get to that much later in the show. We do have a Cavs ticket giveaway for Game 3 at 9 o'clock. Also, Danny Cunningham will join the show. But when we come back, Do I have reason to feel good about the Cavs after what went down last night? Believe it or not, I do. We'll see if Matt agrees. That's all coming up straight ahead. Plus your reaction, 216-474-0092. Cavs down 1-0 here on Sports Radio 92.3 The Fan.
This is an Odyssey Sports Minute.
The streak is finally over. The worst streak ever for the first time since 2008.
What do you think?
Some of them are, like Don just said, you look within first, and you look at my turnovers, and a lot of them were just on me and nothing they did. So, which led to, I don't even know how many transition points they had, but it was way too many. And, if I had to put my print on one thing on the game, that's the game right there. How many points they had in transition? Off our turnovers?
20,
there you
31.
Go. That's the game. It's nothing else.
Harden, it was a humiliating couple of quarters there in the middle for James Harden. By far the worst he's looked as a Cavalier. I stood up for him last series when people kept saying, oh, looks like playoff Harden. And I'm like, no. You're thinking of Game 7 Harden, and I think last night, that's the bad Harden.
Oh.
Matt Derry joining us from Detroit, enemy territory. He watched it last night. It was gruesome there for a couple of quarters. It looked like he was unplayable. In fact, I never put it out on social media, but I was saying, hey, the elephant in the room is going to be if this game gets close, do you keep James Harden on the bench? But he ends up going to Harden. For whatever reason, Donovan Mitchell sat for a longer period of time in the fourth than I thought he would. So they bring Harden back in, and I got to tell you, I think it was a big moment. If the Cavs are going to win this series, I do think, Matt, this might have gone unnoticed by some, or they were so mad about Harden that they never wanted to see him again in the Cavs uniform. But you're going to need Harden to win this series and to make any kind of a run, right? Do you agree?
Yeah. No, look.
So he could have benched him. He could have kept him on the bench. Instead, he came in and he actually helped ignite the big run to tie the game up.
He did, and that was a huge moment for him and for the team. They needed it. Look, he's been in the league, like you said, 17 years. They made the big move for him at the deadline, not to sit him behind Dennis Schroeder, the other guy they picked up at the deadline. But he ended up with, 22 points, but the 7 turnovers, the not being able to dribble the ball.
They all led to points immediately.
Brutal. How about the one where the ball was on the ground and everybody's diving for it and he's kind of standing there, he kind of tips it?
He did, yeah.
Dude, get on the floor.
Yeah. No,
but
James,
with all of that.
James doesn't do that.
With all of that, he has to play. You wonder, there's the one game in the Raptors series where Schroeder and that second group carried them. But if you're relying on your bench to win you the series, it's not going to happen. It has to be Harden and Mitchell and all those guys. And yeah, dude, they were, and I know you're going to tell us in a second why you're optimistic, but for as poorly as they played, and they were bad last night, 21 turnovers, the offensive rebounds, still had it tied in the fourth. Gives you some semblance of gulp. We might be able to steal one on Thursday because they sucked last night, and yet found themselves tied with 4 minutes to go.
Yeah, that was the thing. They had a chance to steal that yesterday, which would have been just a total gut punch to Detroit, to be in command of that game and to have taken advantage of all those Cavalier miscues. Now, I'll start with the glass half empty before I get to the half full. Cade Cunningham can play way better. I know that the Cavs post-game, they were crediting how they really limited Cade, but you saw once the game got to those big moments after it was tied, Cunningham just got wherever he wanted to on the floor, and then it was him and Duran, and that was the game. 2 straight possessions. Then, Tyson also fouled Cunningham on that 3. It was just a terrible hand in the cookie jar. That was another moment that you can't give Cade freebies way out there. Make him shoot it with a contest. I don't understand why he's all up in his grill there. Cade's just too savvy for that. It was very James Harden-esque the way he drew those free throws. But you saw a game on the line. Cade got to his spots beautifully and used that power, used that force that we've been talking so much, into the postseason. And we haven't really been able to do that. So that's one thing I would caution, that Cade can definitely have a monster performance. He can score 40 at any time.
He had, 23 and 7 assists last night, and it's considered, an off game for him. That scares you.
It does. Now
he's got 14 straight games or something now over 20 points in the playoffs, and going back to last year.
And he turned it over.
He's damn good
for as much as he has the ball, for as high the usage that he has. He only turned the ball over 4 times. He's had games in these playoffs where he's turned it over as much as Harden. But he's been scoring. He's had so much of that role. And yesterday he got help. Duncan Robinson was sensational and probably would have had more had Harden not got him into that foul trouble in the second quarter.
Yeah. No, that's the thing. You're going to do glass half full in a minute, but Yeah, the half-empty part is, you're right. They did a decent job on Cade. They started with Wade on him, a little bit of length. But, yeah, tie game, and he gets you 2 drives and dunks to Duren. That was the game right there. And the Cavs had expended so much energy just to tie it that you kind of knew, can they get over the hump? And they didn't.
All right, so the Cavs outscored the Pistons by 6 after the first quarter, that dreadful first quarter. But like you said, a big part of that is expending all the energy you had. I do wonder, Max Strus was so good in this game that will they make the switch? Will they put him in the starting lineup? I actually think they might. And I don't think that's like overreactionary. I think he's kind of toggled back and forth, Kenny has, throughout the whole series. I do think now, because they made it part of the narrative after the game, I bet you Donovan Mitchell gets to the free throw line double-digit times in game 2. I do.
Donovan had 23 points last night. He got to the line twice, right?
Yeah.
Went 1 for 2. I do think it was something that I kept hearing in the postgame, the stat. He had 9 straight game ones of over 30 points.
That snapped.
And that snapped that yesterday. So does he score more? Obviously, like if he could get to the foul line 7 more times, maybe he gets to that 30-point. Does that change the outcome of the game? It might. It was a 10-point game, but really it didn't get away from him until, 40 seconds left in the game. They still had it pretty close. They had a chance. He hit a 3 there near the end in the final minutes. Here's Donovan, though, post-game on just how he's got to balance out his scoring going forward.
It's a balance, right? I think, trying to still be aggressive, sometimes got to command the ball. Sometimes it's staying space. And I've always said that that's the balance, right, that you play. And we were getting downhill to score, but we weren't getting stops. So if we get stops and when those points that we're scoring, and whether it's the invert pick and rolls, whether it's the floaters, it's J.A. at the rim or at the flow, Dean on a 3, it looks and feels a little different. But when they keep scoring, it just, it's one of those things. So he's got to find a balance. And like I said, just take my looks, be aggressive, but it's a balance.
Well, I'll tell you, Matt, the one thing I reference is he got to the free throw line last year in that Indy series. Remember, he had those monster games. He had one game where he shot 21 free throws. He averaged 14 trips to the foul line in that series. It's 2. He's averaging 2 free throw attempts a game. So that's not officiating. At some point, that's the player.
Your starting lineup got there 11 times total, right?
Yeah, and it was
Harden went 9 for 9. He went 1 for 2. That was it from your starters.
But you got to get to the free throw line. You have to.
Recurring theme.
And I know you're not going to get every call on the road. I get that. And there's going to be games that during the series that we're all going to say, oh, my God, the officiating was terrible. Had nothing to do with last night. Last night they passed up open paint points that were there. Like I said before, Duren and Thompson lurk. And I think the Cavs had that in the back of their mind. But if Donovan Mitchell's a superstar, I mean, Anthony, you think he is, right?
Listen, he was player? He was first-team All-NBA last year. He's going to be second-team All-NBA this year. I know there are injuries, so that keeps other guys away. But realistically, Donovan, if everybody's healthy, he's a top 10 player. He's been a top 10 player. But look at the stat line. I know stats don't tell the whole story. So we know, the 23 points. He did hit 4 threes, but otherwise it was not a great game. But only 4 rebounds, only 2 assists, and 3 turnovers. Like, he's not doing the little things. He's playing no defense at all. Like, this is becoming alarming to me on the defensive end.
Well, Cade is a bigger guy. All right, he just is. But Cade's a superstar, MVP candidate this year. 11 free throws to Mitchell's 2. Cannot happen. It can't happen. That has to turn around the next game. Now, it's not all officiating, and you get a feel for the beginning of the game, how the refs are going to call it. But if it happens again next, game 2 tomorrow night, where Cade's shooting double-digit free throws and Mitchell's not, it's going to be a short series.
So my glass half full on this is your role players actually, unlike Toronto, your role players, they were unafraid. You saw Keon Ellis even get in. Now, whether it was because of the Sam Merrill injury or not, and we haven't heard anything.
It had to have been. Sam Merrill played 7 minutes.
And the hamstring makes me nervous. That's a tough one to have when you're playing every other day. So I don't know. Is this a wrap on Sam Merrill for the series? I don't know. But that means that Keon Ellis has to be out there. We know Keon can mix it up with guards. He can play defense with the smaller guards. You don't necessarily want him matched up against Cade or Tobias Harris. But, he was able to give you a spark. Max Strus has been incredible the last 2 games. So he's now had 3 really, really good playoff games. Those are reasons to be optimistic. And I'm telling you, it's the guy that is going to be public enemy number 1 after yesterday, James Harden. That fourth quarter, is not going to be talked about. You're not going to see anybody nationally say, James Harden in the fourth quarter got the Cavs back. You're just not going to hear anybody say it.
It'll be all 7 turnovers.
They'll show the turnovers because they were
over and over
middle school turnovers, right?
They were. It was terrible.
They were so bad.
Brutal.
But in that fourth quarter, go back and watch each possession because I did, because I got nothing better to do. He got by Duncan Robinson and Cade Cunningham with ease in the fourth.
Couple times.
I don't know what it was. And remember, he went on a mini 9-0 run himself as part of the 11-0 run. And defensively, he was getting his hands on some balls. He was stepping up. He wasn't getting backdoored. He wasn't losing anybody. So he was actually giving you some two-way stuff. That has to be that way or you got no shot. Like, that was important because he could have lost. Even a guy like him can lose his confidence. We've seen LeBron James during his career at times lose confidence. James can lose his confidence too, just like anybody else. And if he loses that, if he would have just been benched in the fourth quarter, that's a wrap. They got no shot. They don't have enough.
Schroeder can only play so many minutes.
Yeah.
They're not ben. I give Atkinson credit because you're right. At one point in the third quarter, I'm like, if Harden ever comes back in, it's probably a good thing. He has been so terrible. Can he put him back in the fourth? He did little bit of a spark, which was much needed. But again, you went out and got him for a reason. He's not going to sit unless he's just so bad. And at times last night, he was awful. But in the end, he's got to be out there. Donovan Mitchell's got to be out there. We could sit here and talk about the bench guys and should they start Strus or Wade all day. It comes down to your big guns and your stars. They got to show out. You're paying Evan Mobley. I've said it 50 times already this morning. You're paying him $40+ million a year. Show up. They need you. We got Sam Merrill. Hey, you hope he's okay. He can play, but it's not going to come to this series. Not going to come down to Sam Merrill's hamstring. It's going to come down to your best players.
All right, when we come back, obviously more reaction. We have some phones, 216-474-0092, your chance to win Cavs tickets at 9 o'clock to Game 3. Danny Cunningham joins the show. And Albert Breer said, what about Deshaun Watson?
Oh, boy.
Starting for your Cleveland Browns this year? You'll hear it next here on 92.3 The Fan.
Headline sports news every 20 minutes right here on 92.3 The Fan. From the University Hospital Sports Desk, I'm Jeff Thomas.
I thought second half better. Again, first half it wasn't just their bigs. I thought just overall they were more forceful, more energy. I thought we, again, much better in the second half. But energy scale of 1 to 10, they were 9.5. We were probably at a 7, and that's it's tough to win on the road with that kind of disparity.
All right, that was Kenny Atkinson after the Game 1 loss. We have Cavs tickets to give away for Game 3, and also Danny Cunningham in 37 minutes, precisely, at 9 o'clock. Matt Derry is in for Ken Carman. We're doing the autopsy on yesterday's loss, in which, despite how poorly they played, the worst moments of James Harden's Cavalier career by far, and they came at a very inopportune time. They were right there knocking on the door about stealing one out of Detroit. I actually thought, is this crazy? Matt, I actually thought they were going to win the game. I did, because I thought Detroit was teetering. I really did. Just looking at some of their bad turnovers, the Cavaliers now started playing with real energy. They were getting down the floor. I thought maybe Detroit was on the verge of combusting.
I said the same. My wife came up and checked. I'm watching the game. She was down in the kitchen. She came up and checked, and it was 10. And I go, they played horrible. They're going to win this game. Because they never let Detroit pull away from them.
Yeah,
and at 10, it's just like you go hit 2 big shots, and
you're right back there.
There's a timeout called, and people start to get in a little bit of a tizzy about it.
When Green and Holland both hit those buzzer-beating threes at the end of the quarter, I just this is not their night. Getting back to tied with 4 minutes left, I still did not have that feeling that you guys had. I just didn't.
I just thought we were going to get another buzzer beater.
Detroit's messing around, and they'll figure it out, and they did. The next 2 possessions were both during dunks. Cavs have not won a playoff game on the road yet.
Yeah, I didn't realize this. 0-4. That's pretty tough for a team that I've been saying is going to make this deep run, has a chance to go to the NBA Finals. I don't know, has a team ever made it to the NBA Finals starting out their playoffs 0-4 on the road?
We'll have to look that up. We'll get the crack research.
Well, the Cavs have not.
Yeah, John, good luck.
In the post-LeBron era, they have not won a series in which they lost Game 1. They haven't lost a series where they won Game 1. So they didn't win Game 1 last night. That does not bode well for their future in this series.
Isn't Donovan Mitchell 0-4 or something when he loses Game 1?
Well, he's never been past the second round. So
right.
Oh, that's interesting news. Thank you. We'll get to
a little bit,
or as Anthony likes to call it, the conference semifinals. The
conference semis. So I feel like you've accomplished more once you get to the conference semis. I want to go to the phones here quick, and then we have something from Albert Breer that I think a portion of our fan base is certainly not going to want to hear when it comes to the starting quarterback. John and Westlake, go ahead. Next up on the Fan.
What's up, guys? How you doing?
Hey, John.
So what's up with Mitchell? He has no burst. He's not creating anything on offense, and we're not going anywhere if he going to keep playing like this. He's settling for jumpers. I mean, obviously Harden was horrible, but if he's going to play like this, we're out, and maybe we should blow it up.
Thank you for the call. Does he have a signature dunk so far in the playoffs, Donovan Mitchell?
I don't remember. I was just thinking as John was talking about, you're right, how many times we saw both in Utah and here that crossover down the left side and then going in for that kind of Michael Jordan-esque leaning dunk and posterizing somebody. That fires up the team. That gives him confidence. And you're right, last night a couple of times he had a couple of great kind of dance moves on that left sideline, but didn't take it to the rim. Again, they're thinking that, Duran's there, I better kick it back out. They've got to change their mindset tomorrow. They've got to take it to the rim. And Mitchell getting some sort of highlight reel dunk can get him going. Where, you know what, on the road, in order to break this road losing streak, he might have to go for 35 or 37. But you said he was a top 10 player last segment, Anthony, so let's see it.
Yeah, those guys tend to do that in the playoffs. He's been a playoff riser. I've said that. He's had these monstrous playoff games, and we've seen some decent ones, Game 1 and Game 2, but not since then. Jeffrey and Cleveland, go ahead.
Yeah, there's only 2 ways that the Cavs going to win this series against Detroit. Number one, Kenny's got to outcoach JB. That's one. The second way, the Cavs got to step on the gas and keep their foot on the gas pedal all 4 quarters and test that cardio. Go Cavs.
All right, thank you very much, Jeff. So yesterday, Matt, we had Brian Baldinger on, our Odyssey NFL insider expert, and he used the term clean slate, that's what Todd Monken has to have when it comes to his perception of our quarterback situation, and more specifically, Deshaun Watson. And, of course, that's an impossibility for fans, right, Matt? We've seen some of the worst quarterback play in NFL history these last few years, but that was highlighted by Deshaun Watson and his bad quarterback play.
Last few years, decades, brother.
Well,
right?
We've had a number of them. We certainly have. Analytically, it's been very bleak.
Sure.
Especially since they have new numbers to kind of track all these things. And Deshaun Watson was bottom basement, and really all 3 quarterbacks last year for the Browns were horrendous. So then, of course, afternoon show in their weekly with Albert Breer, they asked him about whether there could realistically be a clean slate for Deshaun Watson. And here's what he had to say.
I just look at the amount of money invested, and it's going to wind up being $230 million. And the draft picks that you put into it, you didn't have a first rounder for 3 straight years. I just don't know why you wouldn't at least want to make sure in this last year, which is a year of transition anyway, whatever got him into the top 5 or so quarterbacks in the league, whether or not that's in there at all anymore. And I think if you start the season with Shedeur Sanders or Dylan Gabriel, it becomes really hard to do that. I think you almost, with a veteran player, you almost have to start with him as your starter. And if it doesn't work out, then it's really easy to go to one of the young guys. I think if you're talking about like who has a chance to be a top shelf quarterback, who's the most talented quarterback on the Browns roster, I still think there's very little question that it's Deshaun. It doesn't mean the other guys aren't going to make it, but if you just look at the success rate of guys who are drafted in the top half of the first round versus guys in the 3rd and 5th rounds, if you just look at the physical ability versus the other 2, I still think Watson's got the best chance, even if it's a very small chance of actually getting back where he was before.
All right, Matt, where are you on this? Because obviously it's something we're going to be talking about until the coach names a starting quarterback. He said he'd like to have things settled by the end of June as you get closer to actual training camp. I can make the case that Shedeur would be better off for his career to actually come off the bench here. I know a lot of people don't want to see that. So what do you think about this?
He used the term year of transition. I think that's garbage. And I like Albert Breer. I'm a fan. But that's crap. There's no such thing. How many more years of transition do Browns fans have to go through? Seriously, it's a year of I know you have a new coach, and he's never been a head coach before at this level and all that stuff. But no, you play the best people and you try to win. Everybody's been going crazy about this Browns draft and how good it was and how much young talent they have from the last 2 drafts. I think it's too early to. Yeah, you want to talk about it. We got topics. We got Albert on. You got Baldinger on. You're talking football. I get that. But to make that decision today, no. I want to see what Watson looks like in camp and everything else before we go crazy. But to say, well, it's a year of transition, so you might as well see what you have. No, if Shedeur Sanders is the better guy, play him. Play the better guy.
Well, I think if it's remotely close, you go with him, don't you? Like, even if Deshaun is better, but it's like slightly, and you're wondering coming off the surgeries when – the bullets are actually flying. I think if it's remotely close, I think you go with Shedeur.
I agree, because he's the future, or at least could be. Watson's not. I can't even believe we're still having this conversation, but I get it.
Oh, we will continue to have this conversation. Are you kidding me? This is the lifeblood of all Browns conversations right now.
But I don't want to couch it, or I don't want to preface it with, well, it's a year of transition. No, you got young players. You got an angry leader of the team that's not showing up for stuff. Let's win.
Wait. You're talking about Myles Garrett?
Sure.
You're saying he's angry? What do you know, Matt Derry?
I just listened to 92.3 The Fan.
I get yelled at. When I'm like, he's clearly sending a message. No,
of course.
He has to be.
On.
He didn't even come to the groundbreaking.
Hello. That's right.
Ken Carman went to the groundbreaking. Myles Garrett, is Ken Carman the leader of the Cleveland Browns? Did Ken put on a hard hat? Did he have one of those guitar
he brought
shovels?
His own with him. He puts it on every day.
Yeah, he's a nitty-gritty Ken Carman, Matt. Yeah, we had the groundbreaking and everything. And
I saw.
And
the shovels had guitar handles on them, Matt.
They did, yes. So this is the rock and roll city for those that don't know and listening outside the city of Cleveland.
Every logo, every time, for every sport. Oh, my God.
We'll see, though. The WNBA, they haven't officially named the team yet. Are they going to go back to the Rockers?
When they just go back to the Rockers?
If the Cavs lose tomorrow night, that will be our topic the following day. So I do want to ask you, though. I see no reason why this thing needs to be settled by late June. That is the one thing I'm a little confused. We had Todd Monken in studio on Friday.
He was great with you guys, by the way. You guys did a great job.
I thought he was. I thought, man,
I thought it was really good. Great radio.
I could tell you at no point did he reject any of the reporting that has been out there from Mary Kay or anybody else about Deshaun Watson having the lead. And we talked to him 10 minutes before the interview. We talked to him 20 minutes after the interview.
When are you getting Mary Kay and Shiloh Sanders in studio? Duke it out.
We will have Mary Kay on tomorrow.
I'll text Shiloh. See if he's
let's see.
Thank you, Owen.
Let's see. Do you think there needs to be any kind of a rush to do this in June?
No.
By June?
No.
Like, what about, don't we hear every year that the joint practice is where you find out what you really have? Because preseason games, they're totally a joke. They're totally watered down. I think we're closer and closer every year to like eliminating all of them completely and just saying, hey, like college football teams, just start your season and we'll go from there. They're going to keep adding games anyway. And so the joint practice, they got Buffalo this year. You're telling me that if Deshaun Watson is your starting quarterback but looks terrible against the Bills and Shedeur plays well, that we should start Deshaun Watson? Does that make any sense?
None. Makes no sense. It's about winning. This is no longer the days of, and I get, like I said before, new coach, new staff, all of that, but year of transition, no. I'm not buying that at all. You play the best guy.
You said you listened to the Todd Monken interview. Are you buying the tough talk? Because I could tell you what he said on the air. It was a little bit of a sanitized version. Off the air, I mean, what everybody said about him and how he talks, 100% true.
One of the most fabulous talkers that I've heard off
my
air.
God.
I bet.
And,
I bet.
I mean, we almost had to delay the rest of the show because he just wanted to talk about the horses in the Derby.
Did he give you any parenting advice?
No, he was talking about this big house that he bought on, I'll just say on the west side. And he's like, I don't know what I'm going to do with this thing. All these rooms, all these beds. I got no kids in the house. Empty nester.
Wow.
He should have me over. He should have a party, a 92.3 The Fan party. And this is the thing. I feel like Todd Monken is unlike Kevin Stefanski in that Kevin was walking on eggshells, always worried about, I grew up in a professional family of sports. We got to keep this gravy train going. We can't stomp on any egos or any of that. Todd Monken, I can tell you this. If they start out like 0-3, Todd Monken's going scorched earth. He's not worried about his next job.
It's very genuine. That's the thing. And I get what Albert was saying on the afternoon show yesterday, but Monken seems very genuine and transparent and is going to play the best players. I truly believe that. I don't think he's going to go with transition year or the ownership wants to take a look because they're paying him. I think he's going to play who's the best guy. That's
that novel concept,
I get. I know. I love that. By the way, we didn't even mention that Jimmy Haslam. I love when he name drops Darryl Ryder during press conference. Great question there, Darryl. I love that.
Well, Darryl's
with the commish setting to his side.
Oh,
too.
I love that.
Well, listen, Darryl was Scoop Central when it came to all the stadium stuff. So Jimmy's probably wondering, how do you learn all this? How do you find out about all this? Who's the leak? Is it me? Is it Jimmy Haslam? Is he the leak? And Daryl's been playing it coy all these years.
That's the bosom buddies that we get.
Those two.
I've been waiting my whole life for it. Yeah.
Those two are hanging out.
All right. When we come back, we power ranked earlier in the show. Who was to blame for, and everyone yelling in their cars right now, James Harden. Yes, 100%. We're all on board. But who's next? We'll hear from the sheriff when we come back here on Sports Radio 92.3 The Fan.
When you opened your last heating bill, did you just stare at it for a second?
Vin Jewelers, Cleveland's premier jewelry store.
This is Browns head coach Todd Monken, and you're listening to the number one sports station in Cleveland, 92.3 The Fan.
I think we're on good headspace. We know a lot of this was self-inflicted. We fix those things up, and it's a whole different game, and we win the next one, and that's the whole goal right now. Scratch this one, look at the film, fix what we have to, and win this next one.
Evan Mobley, yesterday in the 111-101 loss, he finishes in that game with 14 points, 2 of 5 from three-point line, did have 9 rebounds, 5 assists, 2 blocks. But according to the fans this morning, and I'm joined by Matt Derry in Detroit, as we'll give away Cavs tickets coming up 15 minutes from now to Game 3. Feels like it's not enough from a lot of the fans, especially if Harden's going to be as bad as he was in that game. You know, who is going to be the second guy to really step up? Obviously, Allen was on the bench, glued to it because of the first half foul trouble. Second half seemed like self-imposed. Seemed like Kenny Atkinson. He was in foul trouble with Kenny Atkinson, apparently, because he did not play him. But obviously, Mobley's got to be much better.
Yeah, he does. This is a kid with an immense amount of talent, and going up against the Jalen Durans of the world and Isaiah Stewart when he's out there, too. You got to step up and pick up your game. And there were times during the Toronto series where Evan Mobley was like, all right, look great. This is the guy we maxed out. And then last night there were just stretches. And we talked about the Kevin O'Connor tweets earlier.
They crushed him.
Yeah, crushed him. I think some of that's a little unfair, but 14-9, not good enough. Not in this series. Like you said, the Eastern Conference semifinals, as Anthony Lima says. Need more. And when Jared Allen goes out of the game, I know Mobley's not a 5, but there's got to be more there. There just has to be. Or this series is going to be done soon.
Yeah, what makes me nervous, and I did both earlier in the show, glass half empty, glass half full. What makes me nervous is I do think Cade Cunningham is going to have one of those games coming up, and it may be this game. And so, you know, if he's totally capable of dropping 40. And I don't know that the Cavs have really any answers. You know, they had the Dean Wade. We had a caller earlier ask why Dean Wade was starting at all. And I'm like, well, he completely took Brandon Ingram out of that whole series before the injury. So, you know, you were hoping Dean Wade could help neutralize Cunningham, or if he got matched up on Tobias Harris, who finished that series so strong against the Magic. But honestly, Cade Cunningham was not bothered in the slightest by Dean Wade. So who are the guys that can really mess with Cunningham? And I know after the game, there was a lot of conversation about their defensive prowess on Cunningham, but I kind of saw him get to his spots with relative ease. I think he just missed. Like I
agree.
I think he is so good right now, and he's playing at another level than Donovan Mitchell.
Well,
Let's
they
just
talked
be
to
honest.
Evan about Cade and how they were defending Cade last night. Here's Evan on it.
I think we can still do better, honestly. There's some spurts where we made it difficult on him and didn't let him get the ball sometimes. I think we just got to do that more and more, especially throughout this whole entire series, and just wear him down as much as possible.
And they just don't have a bunch of defenders that can just create a lot of turnovers.
Well, and here's the other thing, and you give Bickerstaff credit for this. He played Cade and Jenkins together, and any time that the Cavs ran two guys at Cunningham, Cade gave it up to Jenkins, and he made plays. That kid came off the bench and made plays. He was in the G League last year.
They hit 5 shots. They didn't box him out. He had 7 rebounds.
He also, Cunningham, found Duran there after they tied the game back up, right? You've brought it up a couple times, Matt, but that was absolutely the equalizer. Took him right back out of the game. He just dumped it down low to Duran, and they killed him on that stuff.
He could go for, let's say in game 2, Cade, like you said, Tone, has one of those nights where he has 30, 32. He could still win the game. You got absolutely nothing in game 1 from Jared Allen. You got 7 turnovers from James Harden. You got a meh performance from Mobley. And all the fans that have called in today have said they need to see more from Donovan Mitchell. Yet, 4 minutes to go, you were in a tie game. That is glass half full. But, man, I mean, they've just looked so bad on the road. They gagged away that game 6 in Toronto, which led to last night being a little bit energy-less, as their own head coach said after the game.
Yeah, you blew the opportunity to be waiting for a team.
To get some rest. Yeah. Yes. They did. I mean, you give up 37 first quarter points. You're You're not going to beat anybody doing that.
And they outscored them by 6 the rest of the way, but you dug yourself in such a deep hole. John and Wadsworth, next up on The Fan. Don't forget Danny Cunningham at 9 o'clock, along with your chance to win Cavs tickets to Game 3. Go ahead.
Yeah, I don't know about you guys, but I'm 50 years old. I've been a Cleveland sports fan literally since I was 8 years old. This has got to be the most frustrating playoff team I've ever watched in Cleveland. I mean, even like you guys said, like we're in a tie game at 93, but doesn't it feel when we're down like 10, 12, 13 points, getting back into these games feels like rolling a boulder uphill. It doesn't feel like when they get that tie game, they're going to then continue on another run. As soon as Detroit or Toronto or whoever calls that timeout, we're going to, okay, now the Cavs are down by 7 again. They're down by 9 again. And the problem that I have with this whole thing, these good performances like the second half in Game 7, that's an anomaly. We've been seeing this, and I hate to use the term again, but they're soft, the weakness, it's been all season. How many times, Anthony, did you and Ken have these shows where they would go out and they would like beat the crap out of somebody like Boston or, New York, a good team, and you're like, oh, they're back. And then 2 nights later, they're getting waxed by Washington. It happened all season long, and it's happening in the playoffs. We're seeing what we saw all season. And I don't know where's the Coyones in this team? Last night, what was that 3 by Robinson at that one point? Did you guys remember what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
He's out there, and there's like nobody within 15 feet, and they just stand there. And he kind of looked at him for a second like, okay, I guess I'll shoot it. What the hell was that?
John.
It's so frustrating, man.
All right, thank you for the call. I think we're all frustrated because when you have a team with so many guys getting paid a lot of money,
oh yeah,
and whether it would have been Darius or now James Harden, he's making a lot of money. Like, you're expecting some guys to just be proven playoff guys. The problem is with this team, they really don't have that. They really, outside of what Donovan Mitchell has been able to do early in these playoff years, where he's had some of the 50 and 40-point performances, like, who else? Like, James Harden's had a bunch of monster playoff games. He's also 37. Like, a lot of those monster playoff games came when he was in his 20s.
Anthony, they've all been there, though. Come on, even Dennis Schroeder coming off the bench has been there.
Sure, well, they got him for a reason.
Right.
That's part of it. But that's a role player. You're not expecting Dennis Schroeder to give you big production each game. Like, that's a guy you hope to see twice in a series have big moments.
Yeah, but they've all been there. And I don't even mean to pile on to what John was saying, and John had good points, but that's what's frustrating, and he's right. All of these teams in the East have done this. They've all done it. The team you lost to last night, who's the 1 seed, was down 3-1 to Paolo Banchero and 8 truck drivers. Come on. like this. I think if the Cavs can just find some level of consistency, and a little bit more toughness, sure, they can do this. They can. It's not like they're playing. This is not Jordan, Pippen, and Dennis. It's not. I mean, in this town where I live here in Michigan, Southeast Michigan, 2 weeks ago, it was the Pistons are done. They were down 3-1 to the Magic. Orlando. Name me 4 players on the Magic not named Paolo Banchero and Franz Wagner. It's hard. It's difficult to do. So
Dennis Scott, Nick Anderson.
No, they're all gone.
Hedo Turkoglu.
Oh, Hedo, right. Yeah. Oh, the steroid team that beat the Cat. Don't even hit reckless speculation on that, because I think 4 of them got popped that year. Okay.
Oh,
the next year.
Let's talk some Sasha Pavlovich. But regardless, that's the frustrating thing is you're right. If they can just somehow steal and win their first road game on Thursday night, they got a shot. This is not an unbeatable Detroit team. Pistons are good. They won 60 games, but they were also down 3-1 last series.
Well, we're seeing how quickly these series can change. We'll see if this series changes quickly. Who has the formula? Maybe Danny Cunningham. He was there in Detroit yesterday. He joins us, the host of Locked On Podcast, coming up in just about 7 or so minutes. And right before that, your chance to win Cavs tickets for Game 3. Save some big money on that by getting a chance to go to that Cavs game and being part of that home crowd. That's all straight ahead. Final hour of the show. Anthony Lima, Matt Derry in for Ken Carman. Sports Radio, 92.3 The Fan.
post-game reaction throughout the Cavs postseason. Jake Vulnick breaks down the game.
We still got a lot to prove.
And you'll hear from head coach Kenny Atkinson.
We just stay calm, cool throughout, right? Understand we've been here before.
Donovan Mitchell and others. As soon as the final buzzer sounds, we're your home for post-game reaction. We are Sports Radio 92.3 The Fan.
Your chance to go to Game 3 in what should be an action-packed Sports Saturday spectacular in Cleveland, Ohio. And music, too, I guess. There will be music.
You got a babysitter?
You know what? My wife's mad because she had a coffee date with her friend, and then, the Cavs schedule came out. And normally she gets to trump me on everything scheduling. Be the fourth caller right now, 216-474-0092. Win a pair of tickets to see your Cavaliers take on Detroit. Game 3, action Saturday, May 9th at 3 o'clock p.m. Rocket Arena. Tickets available, Cavs.com. It's all from the Cavaliers of Sports Radio 92.3 The Fan. Anthony Lima, Matt Derry is in for Ken Carman. And we welcome on the Weishart Right. We make it right. Call Kyle Wright hotline, the host of Locked On Cavs, which I was able to listen to on my way in this morning when I wasn't listening to Jeff Thomas and his terrific show. It is Danny Cunningham here on the show. Danny, I was so disgusted with James Harden after that performance yesterday that I compared him to the Lakers' Karl Malone in 2004 in the NBA Finals. For younger viewers and listeners who don't remember the young Karl Malone, or the old Karl Malone, let's just say he was unable to dribble the basketball or do anything basketball-wise in that series. And that's what I saw yesterday out of James Harden in the second and third quarter. How does he find his handle again?
I don't know what's going on there. I don't know if it's still the thumb bothering him, but I went back and watched all 20 turnovers that the Cavs had last night against the Pistons, because the Pistons are obviously a very, very good defensive team. They did a great job during the regular season of forcing turnovers. They had the most points off turnovers per game in the NBA, and I counted at least 8, and I wanted to be a strict grader on this. I counted at least 8 that I didn't think the Pistons defense had anything to do with, that the Cavs just screwed up. And some of them were James Harden just losing his dribble and basically handing the ball to Duncan Robinson. Or Cade Cunningham.
Can you explain the Duncan Robinson one? Now, thank God in the fourth quarter, he got matched up on Duncan about 4 straight times. He got by him every time. So that's a good sign. So I just don't understand how he's crossing right into guys' legs and dangling arms like he did with Cade. Like that this should not be. Cade's not a lockdown defender. He's got size. He's not a lockdown defender.
No, he's not. He's a good defender. He's not a great defender. But I think that this was a lot of unforced errors. It was self-inflicted wounds that the Cavs have. I watched that game last night, and I realized that these two teams are very different stylistically as far as defense goes, comparing Detroit and Toronto. Like, Toronto thrives on chaos. Detroit's much more structured. Asar Thompson's an awesome defender. But I watched the way the Cavs played against Detroit's defense last night, and I thought that their issues had more to do with themselves than had to do with anything that Detroit did. Now, Detroit did some good things defensively, don't get me wrong, but this was an instance where I thought the Cavs really beat themselves with their turnovers. Like, if you take away the 8 turnovers where the Cavs just did something wrong that Detroit didn't even do something right, I think this is a totally different game. The Pistons scored 31 points off turnovers, which is 10 more than their season average was, which, again, was first in the NBA, so give them credit because it's something they're good at. I think this is a game that the Cavs probably find a way to win because everything went wrong for them again, and you have to question, why does this keep happening? Like, kind of felt like I was watching Game 3 or Game 4 against the Raptors once again.
What do you think, Danny, when Kenny Atkinson said post-game that the energy level was much lower than Detroit's? Is that just because they played on Sunday, or is there something else that you didn't like that you saw?
I thought he was correct when he said that, but also, like, Detroit played on Sunday, too, in a Game 7 against Orlando in a series that they had to work very, very hard to come back and win, and probably only won, truthfully, because Franz Wagner got hurt. But, like, the Pistons had to play Sunday. Like, both these teams were at the same rest disadvantage, if you want to call it that. This was not a thing where if had the Pistons beat the Magic in 5 games, I think that would have been way more understandable, and we probably would have seen Detroit win by more. because both teams would have been gassed in a way, or only one team would have been gassed, unlike what we saw last night. So I think that is another issue. And I didn't think it was an issue the entire game. I thought the Cavs had better energy in the second half, which is why they were able to make a comeback and eventually tie the game. But the first quarter of that game that the Pistons won by 16 looked to me like we were watching the Cavs play a basketball game inside Little Caesars Arena in February instead of May. And you can't come to a playoff game with that type of energy or you're going to get run out of the building. And I didn't think, again, that the Pistons played some great game. I think they'll be much better at times, and I think the Cavs will be better at times too. But this, to me, was the Cavs did not look ready for this game. I don't even want to say the moment. They just didn't look ready at the start because they lose that first quarter by 16 points in a game that they win the final 36 minutes by 6 points. They can absolutely play with this team. They just need to show up and do it.
Dan Cunningham is joining us right now on the hotline. So Donovan Mitchell brought up the fact that he's not really getting a whistle. He's not getting to the free throw line in these playoffs. And I had the numbers earlier. I mean, routinely, he gets to the line in playoff games double-digit times. Last year against Indiana, 2 different times. He got to the line 21 times. He averaged 14 in the series. This year, he's averaging 2 free throws a game. That is crazy. We're not talking about a 40-year-old Donovan Mitchell here. We're talking about an in his prime Donovan Mitchell. So at some point, it's not the officials, right? If it's every game, it's got to be Donovan, right?
I don't know that it's entirely Donovan, though. His drives are down a little bit. At least they were in the first series. I have not had a chance to look at the tracking numbers from last night's game to see how many drives he had. But in the first series, he had just under 12 drives to the basket per game. And in the regular season, he had 14.1, I believe it was, drives to the basket per game. And he was shooting 6.1 free throws per night, I believe it was. Well, with that down to 2, and his drives are down a little bit, and I think a lot of that in the first series had to do with how Toronto played him stylistically, just because he had the basketball a little bit less. So I do wonder if this is Donovan not driving as much or if it's something else, because there were a few instances last night where I felt as if Donovan maybe could have gotten a call, and there were certainly times against Toronto where I felt as if he could have gotten a call. But I also, I look at last night where Detroit is supposed to be this team that is super physical. They fouled a ton in the regular season. I don't think there was a team in basketball that had more free throws shot against them than the Pistons did per game. So for Donovan to not be able to find a way to the line against that team, and it's only one game, and who knows, maybe tomorrow night in game 2, he'll shoot 15 free throws and this narrative will go away. But it is bizarre to me that he has not been able to get to the line because that is part of the thing that makes him awesome. I thought he looked more comfortable last night. Thought he looked better, truthfully, last night than he had in any game since game 2 against the Raptors. So if he can start to find a way to get to the line, I think he's going to start to look like Donovan Mitchell again. But that doesn't feel like a sure thing right now.
How much of last night, too, was Jared Allen getting in foul trouble? Cavs led 5-0 out of the gate. And I know it's very early in the game, but how much did that affect what they wanted to do?
I do think that had a decent effect because I don't think that the Thomas Bryant minutes went all that well. And I don't think that Thomas Bryant was in the rotational plan going into that game. I'm not sure that Keon Ellis was in the rotational plan either going into that game, but when Sam Merrill got hurt, he kind of took Sam's minutes. And I think that this is the thing that Kenny Atkinson handled wrong. Not that Jarrett was great in his minutes. He was nowhere near the guy who was in Game 7 against Toronto on Sunday night, but he should have played more than 18 minutes. I know that he had those 3 fouls, and I understand you got to pull him when he gets his third in the first half. I totally get that. But in the second half, he only played 12 minutes, and he only picked up 1 foul in that time. And the Cavs were a plus 10 in the 12 minutes that he played. So for him to not play somewhere between 16 and 18 minutes of that second half, I think is on coaching. Because at that point, foul trouble stops being an issue. And I think that, and I'm sure you guys will agree with this, foul trouble matters more the better you are, right? If Donovan Mitchell picks up 4 fouls, it's a bigger deal than Jared Allen because you need Donovan Mitchell to play 35 to 40 minutes a game. And I think Donovan probably should be playing heavier minutes than he is right now too. But 4 fouls for Jared Allen is not the end of the world. It can't be the end of the world. And I think that he was glued to the bench a little bit too much in the second half. even if he only played 5 minutes in the first half, I think he needed to be around 22 for the game. So I do think that's on Kenny Atkinson, and I think that is one of the things. And I don't know if that changes the outcome here, but I think that's one of the things that he needed to do a better job of.
All right, Danny, last night I thought Evan Mobley actually came out and showed some aggressiveness, and then it kind of deteriorated over time, and he didn't look totally comfortable in a lot of those lineups that we saw, and I think he could have helped them a little more, but he's getting crushed by, again, a lot of national folks, a lot of the usual suspects, and fans have mentioned him a bunch today. What did you think of his performance?
I thought he was fine. I didn't think he was great. It wasn't anything exceptional. I thought he had his moments, certainly, and I do like that the Cavs are using him in inverted pick and rolls, and he's able to get to the basket off the dribble a little bit more. And, I think that there are some things to take away from that game that you should feel positive about with Evan. I didn't think it was the best game he's played, but I thought he was light years better than he was in games 3 and 4 against Toronto as well. So I think that's worth bringing up. That was not the worst playoff game that he's played. In 14, 9, and 5 is not the greatest stat line for him, but I don't look at Evan Mobley and think, yeah, the Cavs lost because of that guy last night. It was an okay performance. I expect him to be better in game 2, but I don't think it was some postseason dud either.
Are you starting Strus over Wade tomorrow if you were Kenny Atkinson?
I would start Jalen Tyson if I were Kenny Atkinson.
Whoa, all right.
I don't think that he would do that, but that's the direction that I would go. I think Strus's energy off the bench is really, really important. And I just want to say, I would not be surprised if Max Strus is in the starting lineup tomorrow night, because I was against doing that in the series against the Raptors, because I think that the defensive drop-off between him and Dean Wade in that particular series and that matchup against Scotty Barnes, against Brandon Ingram, I think that drop-off was more severe, where Max historically has done a pretty good job defensively against Cade Cunningham. And I know Cade will probably have better games in this series, but his numbers against the Cavs during the regular season in this matchup, and I know Max did not play in those games, but his numbers against the Cavs this year were pretty similar to what they were last night. And his numbers against Max Strus last year were pretty similar to what they were last night. So I don't think that there's as much of a defensive drop-off with Max against this particular matchup. And I think the same thing is true with Jalen. If you look at the way that, and I know Jalen Tyson did not score a single point last night, missed the only shot he took in 17 minutes, but he was a +9, and I felt like he was their best defensive player that they had. He gave Cade Cunningham a lot of problems when he was on the floor. The same was true during the regular season. I think he's the best guy for that job. And truthfully speaking, the Cavs starting lineup was one of their worst defensively last night. So they didn't get that defensive upside that you're looking for. And Dean Wade went back to not being aggressive as an offensive player, where I thought one of the big important things about the end of that series against the Raptors is Dean Wade was getting them up, and he has to get them up to stay in that starting lineup. So if he's not going to, and that defensive upside is not the same, I do think that they should go to Strus or to Tyson.
All right, Coach, after the game, talked about lack of energy and said Detroit was at a 9-9 or close to a 10, and they were way down, from where they needed to be. But then I look over every time, and J.B. Bickerstaff was talking to the officials the entire game, was standing, was animated, was pacing up and down. We remember J.B. from his 5 years here. Kenny was glued to his seat for the better part of 3 hours on the broadcast. Are they taking their cues from him?
I've not thought about it like that, because I ultimately think that, you're a professional athlete. It shouldn't be on the coach to motivate you, certainly not in the playoffs. So if they are taking their cues from him, I think that's a problem with the roster and the mentality of this team. I don't look at that, and Kenny did not have a good game last night, and I don't think he had a good series against the Raptors, but I don't look at that as something that I think is an issue, the way that he is. Sitting on the bench during the game, I don't look at that as an issue. I think that there's some lineup choices that were an issue. How maybe prepared or not prepared this team was for game 1 could be an issue. I don't look at the energy as being a thing on Kenny Atkinson's plate. That needs to be a player-led thing.
I'm just sorry to interrupt. We got to go. And I absolutely love this conversation. I just pay attention to Kenny. I know you're trying to watch the game and you've got that access over there. You're doing such a terrific job. I'm just trying to find out what he does during these games because he doesn't ride the refs. He doesn't buy his team any calls.
You're obsessed with this.
I'd like to see him maybe buy a few calls. Coaches do. Phil Jackson was legendary at doing this. Popovich was legendary at doing this. There's a fine line between, going overboard, which we always thought JB did a little too often. And, man, yesterday it was the entire game. And, hey, what do you know? Free throw advantage, 35-16. I don't know. Maybe also get in a player's face when you're not happy with effort. Like, you can do that, too. That's legal. You can hold guys accountable. Like, see Kenny do something. That's all. It's only the playoffs.
Well, maybe he can help get Donovan Mitchell to the free throw line. That'd be a good thing.
Yes.
All right. Thank you, Danny. Appreciate it.
You got it, guys.
All right. There he is. Danny Cunningham. Locked on Cavs podcast, basically daily throughout the playoffs. Was I being too combative there, Matt Derry?
No, you're not combative. I'm just saying you love this bit about the whole Kenny Atkinson needs to jump up and down and get a tee and get restrained.
Maybe once. Maybe
Anthony wants to see some restraint.
Are his legs hurting him? Is it hard for him to do calisthenics and maybe jump up and get animated? It's nice to see a coach get animated once in a while, right?
Is it safe to say you're down on Kenny Atkinson right now?
A little bit. Look,
he's not the one that dribbled the ball off his foot 50 times.
Well, dribbling. You saw dribbling. I didn't even see him be able to dribble the ball yesterday. That was that
he's
bad
like
from Harden.
James, drive and just dribble it off your foot out of bounds, and then when it's rolling there, don't even dive for it.
You know what? I did have some problems. I said the usage of challenges in the last series, I think, prolonged the series. I thought they would have won the series 1 or 2 games earlier had he have not foolishly used those. The use it or lose it timeout, he just doesn't use it.
No,
so
I was stunned last night. I thought of you too. Third quarter, Pistons made that run, and he's sitting there. Like, I would have used a timeout there. He waited until the TV timeout, I think, and it was too late. At that point, I would have used one. I would have gone all Carlisle on him and used them all up.
All right, we're going to try to find the formula of how the Cavs can turn things around because it's not the end of the series. I think it's a little ridiculous, especially considering what happened to Philadelphia. Like, if you want to talk about overreacting, go overreact to that series. This series certainly, I think, has a chance to be a very lengthy one, but the Cavs dug themselves into a bit of a hole. We'll try to go through a formula, and I found some numbers that I think Matt will find interesting, and maybe the listeners will too, about the difference between the regular season and playoff basketball and what it means for the Cavs. That's straight ahead. Sports Radio 92.3 The Fan.
In the first series, he had under 12 drives to the basket per game. And in the regular season, he had 14.1, I believe it was, drives to the basket per game. Well, with that down to 2, and like his drives are down a little bit, and I think a lot of that in the first series had to do with how Toronto played him stylistically, just because he had the basketball a little bit less. So I do wonder if this is Donovan not driving as much or if it's something else.
All right, that was Danny Cunningham, joined us moments ago, the host of the Locked On Cavs podcast, talking a little Cavaliers in a 1-0 deficit. Matt Derry is not happy that I brought up the officiating, and it sounds like you're definitely not happy that I'm bringing up Kenny Atkinson. But let me just read some responses here on social media, brought to you by Scheiben Jewelers, Cleveland's premier jewelry store. The Dirt Dog 62 says, thank you for bringing Kenny Atkinson to light today. I think if we had the stats available showing how much time an NBA head coach sat during a game, Kenny's average might be in the top 5, maybe even top 3, #stand up Kenny.
Oh, God.
So now we're counting his bench minutes, too.
So we're going to fire another coach. Okay.
Christian on social media, this is why Derry was kicked from Detroit.
Matt, you know if they lose to Detroit and they lose to JB Bickerstaff, his job will absolutely be in jeopardy.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, who's the owner? I'm not knocking the owner. That's what the owner does. That's what many of these owners do.
But it's only amplified because of who the opponent is and who coaches that opponent.
I'll be the first one to tell you, if last night there was something, look, I didn't like that he didn't use a timeout during that run. I hated the Thomas Bryant minutes. Sure, you can nitpick, but he was not the one dribbling the ball to the other team. I mean, James Harden was
but you're
horrific.
looking at last night. I think a lot of people are looking at 8 games, and for 8 games, he has not been great.
Right, but JB Bickerstaff was one loss away from losing in the first round and being a 1 seed losing to an 8. Beats the Magic and gets an extension. So I think it's fluid. I'm just telling everybody to take a deep breath here. So that's
listen. The one thing we know about the playoffs, especially in this day and age, and this is going to certainly be highlighted with some of the numbers I'm going to show, but to expect guys to do the same thing every playoff game, I think there's like one in the league right now, and it's SGA. Every playoff game.
But he gets to the line 48 times every playoff game.
It's been consistent, though. That's the one thing.
Foul merchant.
And right now, and you're exactly right, but there is no consistency in this league from game to game, series to series. You saw that with Detroit and Orlando. How bad was Duren early in that series, right? And then he came alive towards the end. You know, this stuff happens. You'll get like your role players will hopefully pitch in a game or two. Like Max Strus was great in game 1, great in game 7. Did nothing the rest of the way. You know, so you can't rely, even the superstars, a lot of them have not been consistent. So you told me before the show, and you wanted to get this off your chest, and you're an NBA fan. You do like the game basketball. You always have. You think something is wrong fundamentally with the NBA right now in the playoffs?
Well, I'm stunned, and I watched a lot of these games. I stayed up 2 nights ago and watched Minnesota and San Antonio. I tuned out of the Thunder game last night once they went up like 15 on the Lakers. But to me, San Antonio, Minnesota, OKC, some of the top teams in the West, I just see such a gigantic drop-off in quality of play from those teams in the West to what I'm watching in the East. I mean, the other night, the Sixers went in New York. It's like, and I get it. It's one game in a series. Maybe that series will be great. Maybe this series will be great. But I'm watching quality of play. I think it's down. I really do. I see guys passing up layups. I know we're in this 3-point era now. But, man, I mean, last night, was that a great basketball game last night? Was it fun to watch? I thought it was nasty for a lot of times.
Well, it feels like all these Cavs games have been like this. And we keep saying, well, it's the defense. It's Toronto. Yeah, but I'm watching the other teams, too. I don't disagree with what you're saying at all. I mean, some of these games have just been really difficult. So I have some numbers, and I thought you'd find this interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, first of all, regular season points per game, where we say the games don't matter, nobody plays defense, whatever. All right, well, the average points per game, 115. Do you know what we're down to in the playoffs right now? 106.5. It's one of the biggest drop-offs in NBA history from the regular season to the playoffs. Not only that, offensive ratings, this is a little more of a deep dive stat, but every team keeps track of this, and I heard the Cavs reference this stuff before as well. The drop in offensive rating between the average team in the regular season and the average team in the playoffs this year is 4.5. It's the biggest in NBA history. They mentioned the drop in points per game. It's actually the largest since 1971. So they're making the point. It's never been more different, the two seasons, the regular season and the playoffs. And you see this, too, with how you build your team. Do you want to build your team with guys that can get you to 50, 55, 60 wins in a regular season, but that can't help you in the playoffs? I bring up like Oklahoma City, like Alex Caruso. In the regular season, that guy's not going to help you win a lot of games. He really isn't. In the playoffs,
but he's a very
huge.
good player.
He's monumental in the playoffs.
He's a good player. I watched plenty of Cavs Raptors, and there was a time when I was like, are they really going to lose to Jamal Shed? You know, and I get it. The Raptors had guys out. Quickly was out.
Shed was awesome in that series until the second half of Game 7.
He wasn't bad. Yeah, but it's like I don't know. I looked at Orlando. Once Franz Wagner exited that series, they were up 3-1, and he didn't play in the last 3 games. All of a sudden, they're just done? Just one guy? It's crazy to me. I watched last night, and I was hoping for better basketball. You know, we're all sitting here in Cleveland hoping the Cavs win and pull this off. I get that, but I just think there's way too many games. Like I mentioned the Knicks-Sixers game 1 2 nights ago. I gave that 15 minutes. It was bad basketball. Knicks played really well, but Philly, off of all that momentum, and I know they went to Boston and won, and that was something else, but even that Celtics series, there were times I'm watching Shireman and some of these guys.
Well, and they blew them out.
The Celtics?
I think 2.5 games, they basically blew them out in the Philadelphia wins. It was crazy to see. So I'm curious, do you think, we'll go to the phones here in a second, 216-474-0092, as we're waiting for the Cavaliers to actually look really impressive. There's just been very few moments that they've done that. I thought they would be way better throughout the postseason than they've been. And it can't just all be, well, the other teams have great defense. Like, all right, well, this is 2 totally different teams put together in 2 totally different ways. Who are your playoff risers on the Cavs? Who are your guys that have taken a step forward for the Cavs in the playoffs?
Strus.
Yeah, well, it's Strus.
That's only because he missed.
He missed so many games.
He missed 67 games or whatever it was. But last night you watched, and then Game 7, I don't know. He's taking it to the next level.
Do you think Evan was better?
Jared
early?
Allen did it. Jared Allen did it the one game.
Evan was better early in the Toronto series. Game 7 wasn't great, and yesterday wasn't great. But
see, they've just had very few guys that you can depend on right now, and hence that's why we're changing the starting lineups. That's why we're trying to figure out Jalen Tyson. I mean, for Danny Cunningham to say he wants to see more of Tyson, and then you look yesterday, and I get what he's saying. Tyson had 0 points yesterday.
Right. How do you elevate a guy to? And I think Danny's all over it. He's entitled to his opinion, but how do you elevate a guy to the starting lineup that didn't score in the last game?
Right. So it's a difficult state of affairs, but they, I know it gets so cliche. Everybody's going to say it's a must-win game tomorrow, right? Or they're not going to have a chance to win the series because you haven't seen them win a road game, and they've got to win a road game. And a team with Donovan Mitchell and James Harden, 2 signature guys like that. Your role players are supposed to evaporate on the road, not your stars.
Exactly.
So that is a big predicament. I want to go back to the phones, Matthew. Let's
do it.
Let's go, John and Shaker. Make that. We'll get to him. Tony in Columbia Station. Go ahead, Tony.
Hey, good morning, gentlemen.
What's
Hope you're doing well.
Thanks, Tony.
Hey, just trying to weave together some of the points you guys have brought up over the past half an hour. Just the lack of energy we saw last night from the Cavs, and it's such the common theme over the past few years with them. Both the players and from Coach Kenny Atkinson. But I think it's indicative of, you mentioned the quality of play we're seeing in the NBA. I've seen this over the past 10 to 15 years. It's just the fierce competition has gone away. The game, we talk about, it's gotten softer and all that kind of stuff.
Do you think playoff basketball, though?
Compared to when I was a teenager and in my 20s watching it, absolutely.
I agree with you, Tony. Tony,
are you talking like hard fouls, or because I'm seeing the defense get ratcheted up big time come postseason? It's hard to even cut. Guys are getting bear hugged off the ball.
When you're comparing playoffs today to the NBA regular season 3 months ago, obviously there's a drastic difference. I'm comparing today versus 15 to 30 years ago, where the game is not the same, obviously, for a lot of reasons. But it seems to me, this is going to sound weird, but it's the games, it's like emasculated. And the guys are playing not to lose instead of to win. Now, I am hopeful because Anthony Edwards and Wemby, I think they're leading the charge with.
We got to get. Sorry, you used a naughty word. But, yeah, I get where you're going. I will say, like, go back and look at the 2000s basketball. When I was dialed in, I watched every game. I was watching Kobe. It's dump the ball into the post and everybody stand. There's none of that anymore in the NBA. Guys are moving like crazy. They've done the monitoring, the tracking of the movements. These guys are running so many more miles per playoff series than they were in the 90s and the 2000s. Like, it's not even close.
But that doesn't make it better
What's
basketball.
Harder? Okay,
watch the
could
Celtics.
be true.
The Celtics are gross to watch. They are. The chucking of threes.
I agree.
That whole series.
That's why they got eliminated, by the way, 2 straight years.
I loved when they dropped it into Embiid for the Sixers. I'm like, all right, a post up. Now, you're right. The post up, back in, stand around is one thing, but a mix. It'd be great to get back to seeing some big guys do that. Wembanyama does it to an extent, but he's more of a perimeter guy too. But yeah, watching the Celtics was gross with all they either made their threes or missed them, and that was it. And Jaylen Brown waited until his podcast the next day to talk about flopping.
His Twitch feed.
Why didn't he, or whatever it was, why didn't he say it during the game?
I don't know. He was busy using the off arm about 452 times in that series. 216-474-0092. Final segment to get on board with the Cavs in a deficit. Where's the optimism? I have some reasons to be optimistic. Well, we'll do that. Final segment of the show is next. Sports Radio 92.3 The Fan.
Brad Evans here to help they beat the Bulls.
for their testimonials.
In your weeknight with the best segments of the day. The Fan Rewind. Weeknights at 11.
I think we shot ourselves in the foot. I think we know that. That first quarter, they got out to a good lead. Won every quarter after that, fought our way back. They're a good team, and you give them a lead like that at the first quarter, they'll run with it. I mean, we had a lot of turnovers too, and they're a good transition team. So they did that well tonight and try to be better next game.
That was Keon Ellis yesterday, who I did think one of the very few things that maybe you can point to that could help this Cavs team the rest of this series and beyond is that you did get Keon Ellis out there finally. There have been some people who have been
was on the team.
clamoring. Yeah, people clamoring like you made this deal for them, the DeAndre Hunter deal, and it was supposed to be that you were getting two guys in the rotation for that deal, and we had not seen Keon Ellis. And yesterday, some of his activity, his team is just not a quick team, but all of a sudden when he was out there, Schroeder and Max Strus, then it gave Detroit another dimension to have to look at because we have been so slow walking the ball up. And I get it. That's the big part of their style when you go get James Harden. But you also have to have a change of pace, right? You have to mix it up. And I'm joined by Matt Derry in for Ken Carman in the final segment. We'll get to some of the phones. But you see what I mean? Like you become very predictable to try to defend. So all of a sudden when it looks like Keon Ellis and those guys are shot out of a cannon, I think it took Detroit by surprise.
I mean, a little bit, and some of it, too, had to be the fact that Merrill got hurt, so they had to go deeper into their bench to try to find something to give them some sort of semblance of decent minutes. I'll just say this, Anthony, too, tomorrow night we're going to find out, right? Can the Cavs go in there and get that first road win here in the playoffs and make this thing interesting and make this thing what you and others said before the series, which is they got any chance to win this thing, they got to win tomorrow night. And I'm not saying it's 100% a must win, but you go down 0-2 and then have to win 4 out of 5 against the 1 seed. That's very difficult to do. But last night sucked. It was horrible. Yet they were hanging around. I feel like the whole Rounders bit. But seriously, this can happen. They can win. But man, they've got to play so much better. They just do. And you turn it over. What's the key number for turnovers for you for tomorrow night? Because it can't be 21 again.
No,
it'd be 20 again.
It'd be nice to have a 10 turnover game,
just a clean game and your star.
Yeah, even if you take James Harden's turnovers away, it was still so sloppy from Donovan and his handle. His handle, and he drives with a purpose. A lot of James is setting up and waiting for a defensive player to put the wrong foot forward, and then he's going to go around him or try to bait into the foul up top. Donovan is always on the go, and his turnovers turn into the easiest points of all time the other way yesterday.
I mean, Orlando won, game 1 in Detroit. So they found a way to win it, the vaunted Little Caesars Arena. So, man, they could just put it together tomorrow night and get this thing back to Cleveland at 1-1. That's exactly kind of what they said, their own words, fresh off having to go 7 with the Raptors. That's what they said they wanted to do. But we're going to find out a lot more, after tomorrow night. I don't think fans are totally in panic mode, but it's a huge game now tomorrow, man. They got to play better. We got Donovan Mitchell. Let's go. There's going to have to be a 35-point game here or something like that from him. He's going to have to put him on their shoulders a little bit, I think.
John in Shaker Heights, go ahead.
Oh, hi. Hey, I've been watching the Cavs for a number of years. I enjoy your show. And some of my friends and I are of the opinion that we got rid of Bickerstaff to bring in Atkinson, and just watching this past season and seeing the playoffs and how the Cavs are going, we think that if the Cavs can't win this series, we think that maybe we should begin the discussion to letting Atkinson go.
Oh, that will not be the beginning of the discussion. That will be the end of the discussion because we will have an announcement the following day.
Right, and he just plays these 4-guard lineups, and he's just going by the seat of his pants when he coaches. And I've seen some of his talks after the games. He just seems like he's not a good fit for the Cavs. I'm not talking down on him. I'm just saying I don't think it's a good relationship, and it shows the way the team plays and what's going on here.
Well,
I'll leave it up to you guys.
Thank you, John. He's been doing a lot of crowdsourcing with his team. And some people
with the players,
and some people thought that was a positive. Hey, we have a collaborative situation here where the coach is taking input from Harden and from some of the other guys. And Matt, I don't know about you. Like, at some point, the coach has also got to tell these guys what to do.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Well, isn't he supposed to have a support staff of assistant coaches that kind of step in those roles that maybe, because I don't know. We hardly ever hear NBA coaches talk about their assistant coaches, but I don't even know any of their names.
Well, Johnny Bryan is the one you should know because people think he's going to get the job.
Well, he was a finalist,
that's
right?
Donovan's buddy.
And
right?
he interviewed last year and got beat out by Jordan Ott. So, who I think did a really good job.
Well, he ought to start coaching better.
Yes. I like that. Very good.
Jordan Ott did a good job
He did.
with Phoenix. You know, we're not allowed to talk about the Suns in this town, but it's against the rules.
Oh,
but
yeah, the Ishbia thing.
But, like, seriously, if I said to you right now, all right, for next season, you could have you have to have, gun to your head, one person back, James Harden or Kenny Atkinson. Who are you choosing?
Ooh. I would have said it was a no-brainer Harden until he looked 37 years old for the first time.
Yeah.
And that is an overreaction on my part. It's just one game, and I've been the king of telling people not to overreact. But when it seemed
one of them's going to the Hall of Fame, Anthony.
Right, but when you see him look every bit of third, man, he looked like 45 yesterday, and he hadn't looked like that. You know, I thought by and large he was a positive in that opening series. Yesterday, the second and third quarter, I'm going to be having nightmares about because I'm the one that made the big passionate, argument for him in the Garland trade. And look, guys, Garland's on 9 toes. He admitted it. I don't think he helps you in either of these series either. But it looks worse because you're also going to give a contract out to James Harden. And if you can't rely on him today, what is he going to be next year? What is he going to be the following year? Then a lot of those arguments will come back to the forefront. Final thought, Matt.
No, maybe I'm just old school when it comes to the NBA with coaches. But to me, J.B. Bickerstaff is going to be coach of the year this year because he has Cade Cunningham. You know what I'm saying?
All right, Matt. I appreciate your thoughts. I look forward to hearing you on the next Dairy Brothers podcast.
Matt's back with us next Monday, right, Matt?
Oh, we have you on Monday.
I believe so.
Hopefully, we will not be reacting to the Cavs being eliminated.
Jeez. Anthony, always fun, my brother. Owen, you guys are the best.
Thank you very much. Danny Cunningham as well. More ticket giveaways this afternoon. You've been listening to Sports Radio 92.3 The Fan. So long.
He is the ultimate seal, and what you do.